Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 43, Independent Gaming Stores, the Gotham Games interview, with me, George, and as always joined by Tom, mint-sealed in-box Zelda on the NES to my dog-chewed FIFA 14 with no manual or disc. And, before I ask you how it's going, special guest this week, Tom from Gotham Games.
Hello.
Hello.
I couldn't help but notice I'm not even in the script there. You had to ad-lib that.
Oh,
yeah. Well, we're hoping on Jeff Keighley for because seeing he's not doing E3. He's not doing E3 now. We thought, well, what better?
There's an
well, there it is.
Yeah.
So not a dog-chewed FIFA 14 with manual or disc, but Tom from Gotham, a proprietor of Gotham Games, an awesome individual, has decided to join us.
Welcome
here for some tap-based antics. Mm-hmm. So. Before we launch into the show, we'll give him a quick rundown of how it goes. The show normally starts with me asking Tom what he's been playing, and then we slip into the news. Then we've got the feature, which this week's going to be that awesome question and answers session with Tom from Gotham. Then we're going to have listener Stingray. Yes, Tom, it's remained on the menu one more time. And
Wonderful.
Then we have the real deal, the big man, the Stingray turns up. And then we close out with what we're hoping to play. So, Tom's, the key that unlocks the show, Ozcat, grip that wheel. He's Ozcat all the time now, suck it up. That's how it is.
Oddcat. Okay.
Oddcat, grip the wheel.
Tom from Gotham, would you like to go first?
Hang on a minute.
You're passing the baton really quickly.
What have you been playing?
Oh, there you go.
Shall I kick off? I shall kick off.
You go first.
You know what I've been playing.
Well, we know what you've been.
Because I'm a man of my word, I said that I would play EA Fight Night Round 3. Pulled it down off the shelf, dusted it off.
Is this on PS3?
It is on PS3.
Yeah.
Popped it in. Struggled at first because it forced me into this weird first-person view, which I don't even know.
I forgot it had that.
Well, it did have that.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Mm. Did it incorporate 6-axis in an awful way as well?
No, you know it should have done.
I don't know. Are you sure it didn't? I thought there was one way you could duck and weave with the motion.
Well, whichever way, I just played it.
That was probably the cartoon one on the Wii.
Yeah. I hammered the hell out of the right analog stick and got a little bit fearful that the DualShock wouldn't survive. But you know, I enjoyed it. It was actually a fun little game. Mm. I seem to be very in the habit of punching people on the left side of the face, though.
Yeah.
There's a very left-centric damage going on.
Those graphics at the time as well were pretty high benchmark.
Let me tell you now. There's some PS4 games that could be embarrassed by Fight Night Round 3.
Fair enough.
Some high-tech sweat rendering.
All that. Some viscous globules of whatever it is flying out of his mouth. And I've also...
I forgot. You do the cut man in the corner as well, don't you, with the cold compress on the head? Triangle auto peel. And then he's giving it the, hey champ, come on, you lost that round. Give it the prep talk.
Yeah, gives you the whole, I don't know what he's called in Rocky, but he gives you the full flim-flam that way, and you jump into a bit more. And of course, I've been playing some Yakuza 5.
Wonderful.
Yes, with all its amazing heat moves. One with the bike, where you like plonk it down and you ride into someone's face and wheelie up and
sounds pretty brutal.
It's very Japanese. There's this taxi section. Bear with me.
I am.
I'm on board. Don't worry, I'm on board.
I feel like I've been to Tokyo hearing about Yakuza.
You're gonna get on board and tell me how great it is.
I will do. It'll be one of those that I'll go back to one day and I'll be telling you it's the best game ever made.
As everybody knows who's familiar with the show, unless it's new, shiny and got a $39.99 sticker on the corner, you're not interested.
Yeah.
But
I'll hold my hands
there's a very bizarre... Without ruining the story too much in this one, Kiryu is like a taxi driver. And there's a section where you have to drive around really slowly. You can't accelerate too hard because the passenger gets upset. And you have to, while you're doing all this, you have to small talk back to the guy. So they're asking you all these weird things, and you're like, oh yeah, I've been taxi driving for a while, triangle, brakes, there's a stop sign. And if anyone runs into your car, you have to, apologise and do that section again.
Is this like I used to play GTA?
You
used to like playing, I'm going to drive to the traffic rules, take the red light.
That's how I play.
Green is go.
You know me.
Okay,
I'm Paragon Plus. I'm I'm the guy in Fable with the Halo Plus.
Is the small talk, because there's like Yakuza, it's a good insight into the culture of Japan, but is the small talk just the same as in England, where people just get in and go, been busy, mate?
Yeah. It is a bit like that.
bit windy out there today.
Well, to top it off, to break up the monotony, which they must know is taxi driving, there's a gang called the Devil Killers who patrol the dual carriageway around. I make it sound very local Lincolnshire. Yeah. They're on the bypass, basically.
Okay, right.
And you go up there, and you've been told by a policeman that you need to race these guys to take them down. So to break up the monotony, you go up there and absolutely hammer it. What was that Taxi Driver film called? Not Taxi Driver, the one with the French guy in it. Taxi, probably.
Yeah.
You know, Jean Reno, your favourite.
Ronin.
Was it Ronin?
There's no taxi driving.
I wanted to say Ronin, but that's a blooming samurai.
No, it's a film set in France. It's got some awesome car chases.
Why the hell did they call it Ronin?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm sure there's a hidden.
You know, in Yakuza, you can press triangle for heat move.
Yeah.
When you're in the taxi in the dual carriageway, when you're on the bypass, you can press triangle, and you've got these moves. So sudden acceleration is the one I've got until I level up. So it just floors it. Great. That's it.
Very good.
That's all I've been playing. You know me.
I am intrigued by Yakuza, and I think with the whole remasters coming out,
every time you say you're gonna get it, you're not gonna get it. It's like Shenmue 3.
The remasters out.
It's out.
Yeah, so you can play every single Yakuza game on PS4.
That's
now.
what appeals to me.
It's the Yakuza machine.
It is.
Yeah, that's what appeals to me. That now you can enjoy the.
And I've got some bonus news when we get deep into the.
That's enough Yakuza, I reckon.
For now, shelf Yakuza for now.
I think we should be polite and ask Tom, what have you been playing this week?
I probably play games that are quite different to you two, and owning a retro game store, you'll be like, oh, sorry, it's retro games. Well, so I do, but I've not played any quite recently, because all my retro stuff is packed up for a sort of house redecoration, boring. Sort of, there's one room where everything is, and you walk in and you go, oh no.
Well, I've got insight.
This.
You've recently gone 4K. How's that going on?
Voyager isn't any different in 4K. So
Star Trek Voyager. Yeah. Me and you have got a bit of a weird Star Trek fetish going on.
It's nice. My old TV, the colours were just awful. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have a PS4 Pro or anything, so I don't make use of the 4K. But the HDR like colours. Everything just looks better because it's not all washed out.
Nice.
Especially because one of the games I've been playing is Metro Redux, the PS4 re-release.
Tell me about that.
So I finished the first one, I'm on to the second one now, and they're post-apocalyptic sort of survival horror, first-person shooter, stealth action games. There we go.
Are they all set in Russia?
They're set in Russia, so it's post-apocalyptic. Basically, everything above ground, that's over, that's gone, and everyone lives underground in the metro. And there's like little factions and stuff. So you've got the Nazis, you've got the communists, you've got the Reds, and sort of normal people, I guess.
Yeah.
So the story follows that. It's an alright little story, but I play it more for the gameplay.
Is it a shooter first and foremost, or is it more like a? Because I never picked them up. Is it more like a Fallout game?
So no, there's no RPG stuff to it. It is shooter, but you can play it stealthy or non-stealthy.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is the first game was like way too hard to try and play it not stealthy. You would just run out of bullets because it's one of those kind of games like resource management.
Yeah.
And then the second game, people complained quite a bit because it was a lot more action oriented than the first one. But for the PS4 re-release, you can play the first one more actiony, or you can play the second one more survivally. So you can sort of play both the way you want. Which is So I've been playing stealthy survivally because that's the kind of game I like.
Yeah.
And they're really good. Bullets are money.
Is that right?
So you have military grade bullets, and they're the currency in the game, and you spend those to buy cheaper Russian underground bullets. But like sometimes it gets really intense and you're running out of bullets, and you're like, sod it, I'm going to slap in the expensive bullets, and you're firing at this monster. It's like, that's money gone. That's money gone.
That's like just throwing your wallet at this guy.
Like, I've just shot bullets.
Are they more impactful weapons when you the money bullets?
Yeah, they do way more damage than proper bullets.
It sounds like something EA would coin, isn't it? Like, buy these bullets.
Money.
Yeah. For real-time money.
DLC bullets.
Can you just do a clip of £10
Funnily enough, just on the subject of EA, I saw quite a funny little thing of this young lad who had his account hacked apparently and spent 30,000 FIFA points or something, and there's a picture of him there, and he's like, you can just see the guilt on his face.
And he's wearing a Real Madrid
shirt.
Oh, that kid knew exactly what he was doing.
Yes,
he knew exactly.
Definitely.
He just forgot the repercussions.
Is there anything else you've been playing, Tom?
Yeah, I played a game called Temtem on PC.
That was in the boot a week or two ago. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's early access release. It's Pokemon.
It is Pokemon.
Under another name.
It literally is Pokemon. Okay. But you can tell it's just made by people who love Pokemon.
Yeah.
And some of the ways Nintendo have gone with the newest game, they've kind of gone more old school with it.
Yeah.
And then it appeals quite a lot to hardcore players. I don't know if you know, in Pokemon these things called IVs and EVs and...
Yeah, I'm aware of these.
Yeah, I'm aware of them. I do not care in any way. I just play the story and then put it down. Mm-hmm. But they're a lot more... You can sort of see it, if that makes sense, because it's always really hidden in Pokemon and obtuse. But they kind of brought it to the front, so if that's your thing, you will get a kick out of Temtem.
Is it top down, or is it isometric, or
it's like sort of looks like Pokemon on 3DS. That kind of angle. It's really good.
Is it like more RPG heavy, like the older ones, in terms of sort of?
And what's interesting is the battle system. All the battles are 2v2.
Ah, okay.
So and then some moves are buffed by having your second one of a certain type. So you have to think about which two you have out, which is quite good.
That's interesting.
And this is deep.
Play through the whole thing in co-op, which is why I bought it, because me and my wife played through it together.
Yeah.
Especially because it's early access on Steam, so it was like £25.
Yeah.
And I've still not bought the new Pokemon for Switch, and I was like, well, I can pay £50 for Pokemon Sword or Shield. Yeah. And me and my wife have to share it.
Yeah.
Or we can just buy 2 copies of Temtem and just play it together.
Yeah, that's cool.
No regrets there. It's really good fun.
So is it split screen, or do you have to?
You have to 2 separate computers.
Yeah.
Back to back on laptops.
Yeah, it's like they call it an MMO, which just means you can see other players. Yeah, basically, you don't really interact. But
I don't like those so much, because when you have a nice cutscene story and someone sort of runs by, jumps and spins around.
He's talking about the unpleasantness that we've found in Red Dead Redemption 2 online. I was telling George, this is what we call a griefer coming up here. Guy basically telling us he's the fastest gun in the West, and
maybe he was the best fighter, wasn't he?
That was it. Best bare knuckle brawler.
He trapped us in a camp, didn't he? And every time I tried to leave, he just punched me to the floor. It's like I can't leave. Terrible.
Yeah, I think you literally can't interact with it. All you can do is go up to someone and say, "Do you want to battle?"
I honestly think that's the best way to do it.
It's nice because it makes the world feel
like it's filled, but also it takes away that irritation of just having those people who just basically want to troll and grief online.
Yeah. Some very strange people, isn't it? They get
they do
griefing people.
You can't even have like collision. Like you just walk through them, you know.
Honestly,
so you can't grief by standing indoors or something like that.
Oh, that's horrible.
You've got to think about that. Did you remember? You know when the Division 2 first came out? Did you hear about that? In the starting area, everyone spawned in the same room, and you could stand in the door and stop people leaving to get to the game.
Where are people getting off at that, though? Sort of thing you would do, Tom.
Mate, honestly, if you play, I'm going to bring up Overwatch. There's a character called May who is like she has like an ice gun and she can create an ice wall. Guarantee, if someone picks May, they put a great big ice wall up in front of the door before the match starts. Hilarious. Yeah. I've only seen it a million times.
Doesn't get old, does it? Doesn't get old.
You owe charity £5.
Because I mentioned Overwatch.
You did.
Well, you owe them a £5 because you've mentioned Overwatch. Yakuza as well.
We're broke even then, haven't we?
There we go. What? Money in the pot.
Lord Tom, Sir Tom.
Yes.
What have you been playing?
My agent says that's better the way you pronounce that.
Sir Tom, yes. Lord Tom.
This week I've been playing Shadow of the Colossus, the remaster on PS4.
Ooh.
Because it's a bit of a dry spell for me, because I'm naughty. I tend to only buy new games. I really should try more retro stuff.
Your money goes for, well, not in my case, really. But your money goes further.
As I'm about to find out after the show where all his money goes.
I bought his silence today.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought his silence.
No wonder he's so keen to come on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well lubricated.
Yeah, I can't speak about the bill today. That's like comes under like patient confidentiality.
Confidentiality. You can't. No, don't mention. Don't dare mention the bill. Don't dare mention the bill.
Yeah. So with the sort of lull in new releases, although I am picking up something which we'll get to later, I've hit up Shadow of the Colossus. I had started it when it first came out. And then I think something else came out and I must put it on the back burner.
Did you download it digitally or of course?
No, I've got it on disc.
What? You got a physical game?
Yeah. And I kind of forgot where I was at, and I was about 8 colossi slain.
This is the plural for colossuses.
Yes.
Colossi.
I've done my research.
Yeah, you even wrote it down so
yes.
you forget. Can't help
although I think I've spelt it Clossy.
Clossy.
10 Clossy down.
Closses.
10 Closses done. Okay. I think there's 18 or 16 from what I remember, but it's just awesome. I forgot how epic the scale is in that. The bosses still outdo a lot of modern stuff now.
Well, on the PS2, I've not long played it, and it does sometimes it's very empty.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an empty game. You could compare it to Breath of the Wild a little bit in how there's not much there.
Has that carried through to the PS4? They haven't felt the need to populate everything.
No. There's like little animation flourishes of like they've probably put in that are quite subtle. Yeah, I think considering it is just a boss rush mode in a way, you could probably get through it in 6 hours maybe. Oof.
It's a John Woo stranglehold of the game, is it?
Yeah, John Woo Colossi or Clossy.
What else is on that list?
That's about it. It's a very empty list this week. I've had the usual online games. No. Modern Warfare Season 2. I'm so mainstream. Yeah. Now, I'll briefly mention, obviously, Modern Warfare. I was discussing with some of the listeners earlier this week about the size of the updates. They're terrible.
It's a joke. And
they have actually come out and said like they are trying their best to sort of rectify
what
that.
size are these hideous looking updates?
58 gigabyte, I think, for the PS4 one.
Yep.
That's bigger than That's bigger than Temtem.
It is crazy.
Temtem's about 4 gig.
Exactly.
That's the beauty when a game like that, because me and my wife are like, right, let's buy it, and it's like, right, let's go grab some food. It's done. Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Download is done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I get home, my mate goes, oh, let's jump on Modern Warfare. It's like turn PS4 on. Oh, it's not auto updated. Well, I'm not playing tonight. Sorry.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that I know your pain. So yeah, I've eventually got that Season 2 downloaded. It looks like there's going to be a Battle Royale mode implemented because there's now a 4th space in the main menu. So you've got single player, multiplayer, Spec Ops, and then there's going to be room for... It's rumoured to be called Warzone.
How many players?
Some are saying 200.
That's nearly mag.
It's a massive action game. Yeah, sign me up for that.
What is this?
That was a PS3 exclusive. They came out with this game called Mag, and it stood for Massive Action. I think it was Massive Action Game.
From the creators of SOCOM.
Yeah.
Listeners must think I just got into gaming last year.
No one played Mag. Like, I think it could support 256 players, and that's exactly how many people played that game.
When it came out, though, that's when Sony got hacked and they were down for 6 weeks, and it robbed the sort of impetus from the game. By the time people got like, I'm not playing that now, there's a new game out. Mag fell on its sword for Sony.
I've tried a little bit of Cuphead again just on the Switch because it's quite nice to pick up and play, and it's still mega nails. Yeah, tough. And the other thing I checked a couple of days ago was my Mario Maker 2, my one and only level.
The one that you pumped on the show.
Yeah, I tried to pump it on the show. It's still only. You know what I was expecting? To go on and it almost gone massive, like loads of playthroughs. 27 playthroughs, 7 likes.
Sounds like our YouTube
Most of those
channel.
probably from the listeners, but thank you if you played it. That's me.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Well,
that's it.
okay.
I want a little addendum on the Modern Warfare thing. The size of it, just to get super nerdy. The way that the PS4 handles updates is a joke, basically, because you have to have enough free space, not to download the update, but to hold the update and a second copy of the game.
Yeah.
So Modern Warfare is about 120.
Yeah.
So to install the 50 gig update, you need over 200 gigabytes free.
Yeah.
And they sell 500 gig models.
Yeah.
It's like it's insane.
Yeah. What do we do?
I do wonder
that
how
needs sorting next generation.
I do wonder how they're going to tackle that with the PS5, because obviously games are going to get more complicated, so the size is going to be even bigger, you would think.
Yeah.
So.
Although I will say the Xbox One doesn't do that crazy double thing.
Okay.
The Xbox One, you just need enough space for the download. So.
Chalk that up, George. Another reason to get
one reason.
Series X.
This is all.
There's a very slow but heavily mounting amount of evidence
more
to suggest
Xbox way.
we're going to go.
PlayStation can't rely on just exclusives.
I don't know.
They are good. They are.
Listen. Before we get into the news, I'm going to dare to say that the Sony exclusives, as good as they are, they're all third-person action games, and they're stomping that mud hole very dry.
Good point.
They're just reskinned. Here's a Norse version.
In danger of becoming Ubisoft.
Very much.
Yes. Yeah.
Very much so.
Shall we head into the news?
We've scoured the very dark.
One more game? I've got two written down, but I'll just talk about one because I know there's no chance either of you two have played it.
We've got a proper gamer here,
and it's because it's Metro Russian. Apparently, I love Russia because I've been playing a game called Escape from Tarkov. If you've heard of it,
that was in the Stingrays book.
It went viral like a couple of weeks ago, and it's like unplayable with lag. It's broken because it's made by like some Russian people. But
tell me more about that.
Do you guys like multiplayer games?
I
know you don't.
I do.
Right.
A fair bit.
Do you like hard games?
I've got a little.
And now,
So
when you like
for that, I think.
when you like multiplayer, I'm the kind of person I hate multiplayer games that are progression based, where if someone's played it for longer, they're automatically better because they've
I think that.
I like level playing field.
Skill. Sure.
And if we say the O word, that's kind of the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
So Escape from Tarkov. It's a spin.
You don't want to pay a $5 to charity.
It's a spin on the battle royale sort of. So you all load in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not. And then you load in, you do what you're doing, and you get out. And if you die, you lose everything you went in with, everything you picked up, and you have an out of game stash. Where you try and get out with more stuff than you went in, build up your stash, so you've got some nice loadouts.
This is brutal.
Yeah, but like say you can load in with just some amazing gear and just get one tapped in the head and that's it. Because there's like NPCs and stuff, but
that's like going uptown in your best clobber.
It's super tactical, super realistic, and you will sweat. You will sweat buckets playing this game.
So are you in? Is it? You're on your own, or can you be in teams?
You can be in teams, but because it's so hardcore, there's no UI basically.
Right.
Like we're even talking like you have to press like Alt T to look how many bullets you've got in your gun. Wow. And the type of bullets matter. More expensive bullets, they matter.
Not Metro
the money bullets.
Yeah, money bullets again.
Money bullets again.
I mean, man, this game, it's got like an in-game flea market where you can sell your spare stuff, and they could monetize this if they were EA. It would be brutal, but thankfully it's not. But yeah, so like you load in, you've got all this amazing gear. You find something like this is 500,000 rubles. This is me set for life. I've got it in my back pocket. I need to get out. And then you just hear this rustling in the bushes. It's like, oh no.
Do you get out by winning, or can you just exit the game?
You have to exit. You have to get to the exit. But people might camp the exit.
Oh.
There's a few different exits.
Those dirty rats.
You're going to watch out for exit campers.
You know what I think would make a really good battle royale game? Like something like the Running Man. Arnie Running Man. Using
the license.
Yeah.
This is you. I don't like retro. Every single reference you bring up is from about 30 years ago. Unbelievable.
We better move on to the news.
Before we do.
Okay.
Seeing as we're doing some housekeeping.
Yes.
Turn on the Hoover. Grab some Pledge and Dusters. Mumsy wants some housekeeping done. Retro won. The jury came in. If you counted up.
I was hoping we wouldn't talk about that. But
okay.
It appears.
I tell you what.
We'll sweep that under the rug.
Mumsy's going on a date with Lord Ponsonbury tonight.
Valentine's night.
Yeah, but because I'm a bitter gaming bachelor and he's paralysed from the neck down, I have to wipe his chin, and they want to play footsie tonight, so I'm going to have to get under the table and wipe Lord Ponsonbury's dead leg across Mumsy's ankle.
I think that's probably the worst.
You're lucky you've moved out.
Yeah, I am. I'm glad I'm living the free life.
The news. We've scoured the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, Phil Spencer talks backwards. Head of Xbox Phil Spencer has talked a little bit about backwards compatibility on the next-gen system, the Xbox Series X, on a recent podcast. Sadly, not this one. He wouldn't be welcome here with his highfalutin ways. He said the company is already working on backward-compatible titles and he's personally testing many of them. Oh, my dad's got an Xbox Series X. Spencer has had a beta system since December, so he's been apparently running lots of tests on the machine, but he said because of the backwards compatibility, he's also had it as his primary console. He's showing off, isn't he?
He is.
Imagine Phil Spencer's kid at school, though.
Yeah.
He is that kid.
You know who my dad is?
He would be you at primary school.
I've seen the new Halo. Yeah, of course you have. Yeah, my dad's Phil Spencer. Oh, okay. Tell me more.
Fair.
Yeah.
This backwards compatibility, if they're going to maintain it across all 4 of their systems at this point in time, is pretty impressive, really. Good effort.
I think PlayStation and Xbox really need to. It's a bit of a battle, that is. It's going to be a selling point to a lot of people.
No.
I mean, Tom, obviously you own a independent gaming store. You would probably like if the consoles continue to be backwards compatible.
Yeah, it's a weird one because you'd think on one hand I wouldn't like it because it means people don't buy the old consoles, but people still buy the old consoles.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just good to be able to have that backwards compatibility, and it kind of keeps value in games, to be fair, as
it
well.
does, yeah.
I would agree with that.
A 360 game on the shelf that isn't backwards compatible, a couple of quid, but all the backwards compatible ones are a little bit more, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think
got more value.
It opens up the library to people who...
One question I've got on backwards compatibility, though.
Yeah.
How many people do you think actually utilise it?
They said it...
I don't know. I think
they said it was quite well utilised.
Quite well utilised.
Let me try. That's the most corporate thing I've said.
Well, we'll come back to that. Tom, you got a bit of
next up, Gangs of New York. Ubisoft has announced that Division 2 will be getting a new expansion on March the 3rd. Titled Warlords of New York, the expansion is said to bring some new story content and major gameplay changes. Many fans are excited as this add-on will see players heading back to the Division 1's old stomping grounds, New York City.
I tell you what with Tom Gotham being here, he's doing all the legwork that James the Work Experience would normally do, wouldn't he? When we're back in the bunker, he can tap away on the keyboard and make you look like a gaming genius, can't he?
He can.
Yes, he can.
Do you want to slide in with that last bit there?
Yeah, give us that little stat.
So here's what. So by June 2017, people had spent 508 million hours using backwards compatibility, and it was 1 billion a year later.
Wow.
So
someone's playing Fable 1 on an Xbox One somewhere.
I think obviously the price of brand new games affects, like, I don't know, let's say you've not had a great month at work or you've had a lot of bills to pay, and you can still get your gaming kick and go pick up an older title and get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Especially if it's something that you've missed.
Exactly.
I didn't play Metro back when it came out, and it genuinely, it's like, I absolutely adore it. It's like one of my favourite games now.
What I think about older games, you can if you've got some of the older systems lying around, you can waltz in somewhere like where we are today. Yeah. And you can pick up a game. Well, I normally don't know when to stop. But you can pick up a game for like a £5 or less and take it home and have like 8 hours of fun out of it. Like Fight Night Round 3. I'm sure that was like 50p. I've had hours out of that this week. Yeah. Can't put a price on. Well, you can, 50p.
And I think if you look at the massive libraries, especially last gen like PS3, Wii and 360, there's so many games out there. Most people will have missed something pretty decent as well, not just like tat, but actual good titles.
Definitely.
And even then, some playable tat, you know.
Yeah.
There's always some joy.
I think obviously that's why we get a lot of remasters and remakes, because they know they'll sell, because a lot of people haven't played them.
There's a lot of stuff that's passed people by. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. What have we got next, George?
Last load of collector's tat. Last September, Naughty Dog announced it would be releasing a special Ellie edition of The Last of Us Part 2. It was given a hefty price tag of £230. but did manage to sell out of stock. Well, fans reached out to Naughty Dog and pleaded like the orphan boy Oliver, please sir, can I have some more? And Naughty Dog have delivered. The LE edition will be back up to pre-order as you're hearing this, but be aware it will be limited stock ahead of the game's 29th of May release date.
That's a hefty price tag on that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an investment, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Today's £230, it's tomorrow's £460. Simple as that.
So yeah, some of them go on to increase in value massively. We might spoil a question if we probably ask Tom about.
Tom's
just
got
on
wheeling
the subject of like it's talking of investment. So I don't collect video games. Like I play retro, I'll take some home, I'll play them, but I don't collect them because that would be like competing against myself.
Yeah.
But collecting's fun, isn't it? Like,
sure.
it's great. It is the drug.
It is.
I sort of buy comics occasionally.
Yep.
And sometimes I buy new ones as well. And way back before The Last of Us was even a thing people talked about, there was a prequel comic before the game came out. And I bought that. Cool. I bought the 4 single issues. They were like, £3 each. Buying it monthly as it came out. And I just sold it for $80 for all 3.
Wow.
That was a hefty investment.
Yeah.
How much were they? Like a couple of quid each?
Yeah, that's something I bought them for cover price, $3.50. I bought them the day they came out, read them once, slapped them in the box, and then I've been sorting through all my comics because I'm sorting through all my stuff, and I was like, maybe these are worth something. And I was like, I'm not keeping these. I don't like it that much. It's not that good. Yeah. It's not that good as a comic.
What part of the prequel does it follow? I mean, what we're talking about?
You know the DLC they did?
Yeah, they're left behind.
It's sort of that, but not that. So it's kind of non-canon now because it's like even overwritten.
Oh, the Star Wars books.
Yeah.
Don't talk.
Disney strolling in. I'm smoking cigarette on
for the
audio podcast.
It's more a cigar.
Cigar, yeah.
So,
chucking and setting ablaze to anything.
I've got enough of those Star Wars books to build a small extension, and now they're all worthless.
That's my other vice, though, buying Star Wars books from charity shops. Star Wars and Star Trek tie-in books, love them.
Oh, you've got a guilty secret with this.
Yeah.
You need to tap me up when you get to Enterprise. That's when you need to tap me up. That's when the Star Trek really kicks.
Voyager is so hard to watch.
Skip it now. Skip it now.
Well, we've got one bit of bonus news.
It's bonus news. How many episodes now?
You give it more feeling, don't you?
I do. I believe in it.
Bloody hell. The awesome-looking indie game Bloodroots has a release date coming soon on February 28th. The game is an isometric action title in which players get to dispose of enemies in truly ingenious ways. The title is coming to Nintendo Switch, PS4 and PC. So any indie fans, I know we've got quite a few listeners that really like those, keep this on your radar.
I've got one more bit of bonus news. Anyone who's ordered the Yakuza Remastered box set, right, bear with me.
£5.
Okay.
£5.
Get out the shop, put it in charity.
I know you've got it as well.
Dirty. Right. When you take out the box, in the game there's like the law of Goro Majima being everywhere.
Is it as good as our law?
Probably slightly better than our law, actually.
Right,
yeah, I mean, we're very Poundland law. You take. I mean, let's face it. The law this week involved me playing footsie with a paralysed man's legs.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
You take out, and the slip case has actually got a little picture of Goro Majima looking back at you, winking. Perfect.
Very nice. Just on the subject of Bloodroots, it's kind of stylised in the way of Samurai Jack. I don't know if anyone's seen that, but
was that old Nicktoon? Was that Nicktoon?
Cartoon Network?
Yeah, it was Cartoon Network.
It had, not like a reboot, a sequel series.
Yeah, they did a sequel series, and they've done like a sort of stone. We call it Stone Age or Ice Age one with the.
So it's like the Flintstones.
Violent Flintstones. Yeah, that's the tagline. No, honestly, Bloodroots looks really good fun. It's very fast-paced action, and you're using lots of different items and weapons that are around the levels to dispatch the enemies. And yeah, I just caught my eye and I thought I'd mention that one.
Not next week, the week after.
Yeah,
it's going to be in the boot.
It will be. So we'll maybe talk a little bit more about it.
Best turn the thumb screws down on James' Work Experience Boy so he writes this down when he's editing, so he can make sure he adds it in.
Absolutely.
Well, Tom's Collective. Did we miss anything? Do you have an opinion or take on the news we missed? Probably missed what's going to be this week? The shadow drop of Cyberpunk 2077 came out last night. as you're listening to this. If so, Sir Tom, Lord Tom, how would the listeners interact? And let us know that we've made complete flaming donkeys lips of ourselves.
As always, you can reach us by direct messages on Instagram or Twitter, and you can also reach us via email, questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com.
Don't forget the email. Lord Ponsonbury remortgaged the big house in the village to pay for that web domain.
Did he?
He did.
Excellent.
That was the law you wrote 2 weeks ago, so don't forget.
Okay.
Well, we've limped, like only a hokey cokey podcast can, to the section we're going to call Gotham Games, the independent game store feature. We like to make a mouthful out of that. So, as you guys are aware, we're joined by Tom, proprietor of Gotham Games. We're here to talk to him about owning and operating an independent store since 2015 and having worked in it and the industry since 2011. As always, we ask you guys for your questions for Tom or about your memories of independent stores in your area. And you came back to us with questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Go. First question for the man in the hot seat. This is going to be like Mastermind, but slightly more relaxed without a points counter.
What a grilling this is going to be.
Well, let's find out. Now, Retro Gamer Thomas, he's one of our keen listeners, but we've developed some lore around this guy where he's got a massive retro collection, but I one day envisaged him nibbling through it like Hannibal Lecter. So he turns on a 3DO and nibbles on it as it's working. But
It became the console cannibal, didn't he?
the console serial killer. We forget our own stories sometimes. Anyway, he asks, I'd like to know if they find it hard in the current financial climate being an independent store. There's not many retro gaming shops around now, so do they do anything different to keep themselves above your standard video game shops? Plus, I really need to head up there soon, as my mate's been a few times and said it's awesome. It'll be like Cosmos to me, which I assume is some sort of all-you-can-eat buffet.
It is.
Where you can nibble on all the... Where is Cosmos?
There used to be one in Doncaster. That can't still be around, can
There's
it?
one in
That
Knots.
must have
There's one
gone
in
bust.
Knots.
How does he know about
Because
it?
it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet place that does all sort of regions of food.
I went-
and it does none of it well. Obviously, it's all like reheated garbage. It is the worst place. Although personally, I just hate buffet stuff. Sorry.
I
I'm
went
offended.
to the Nottingham one and had Yorkshire pudding with sweet and sour chicken.
You are a very hideous individual, aren't you?
I am.
Stop
The heel.
Stop the recording.
There's also
I
another
can't
little
deal with
bit
this.
of lore where... There's one more bit of lore for this guy. He lives in... You know Ross Kemp?
I know of Ross Kemp, yeah.
In our village, he's a PCSO, and he keeps Retro Gamer Thomas under lock and key.
Okay.
So, question. Let's rewind. Is it hard in the current financial climate being an independent store? Or do you feel like you're punching left, right and Chelsea, dodging and weaving all over game? Well, you're obviously all over game.
It's not like, is it hard? Yeah, but I mean, everything's hard, isn't it? Like, whatever you choose to do in your life.
That's true.
You know, there's always going to be stuff that sucks, stuff that work against you, but yeah, it is hard. Of course it's hard. I work too hard, probably. Run myself into the ground, but I love it, so, you know. No, in a way, no, it's not hard.
Because you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and the other part of this question there, are you doing anything different above your standard video game shop?
So...
High calibre of tat,
I don't know. Like, I probably should, but haven't really visited other shops too much. There's a couple that I think we'll get to in here. But I don't really visit too. Actually, no. I'll tell you about. Have you ever been? You know Manchester. What's that building? Is it the Affleck building or something?
Ben Affleck building.
I think it is called the Affleck, but it's like a big building of like independent stores.
All right.
Where they rent it out, and it's sort of they change all the time because I think you just have like a monthly thing. But one of the sort of permanent fixtures is a retro game shop, and I went in it once, and so there was no music, so it was deadly silent, very deadly silent, and nothing was particularly priced. Everything was just all over the place. And the floor really creaked, and there was just one big guy in the corner staring at me, and I'm just walking, so I just walked up to one thing and went, and I just go,
Sound effects, man, yeah.
think I'll leave now. This is excruciatingly awkward. So
with all that retro gaming there, it must have felt more like a mall.
Yeah. So when you say different to standard, like, because nothing like massively special. Like, refurbish stuff. I mean, everything. You make sure everything's clean, super clean. Don't sell grotty things. I don't sell it if I wouldn't buy it, and I'm picky. So that's always a good rule to have.
Yeah.
And
except I want dirty stuff so I can clean it at home with the surgery.
Well,
with the gloves on.
you like to swipe in pre-shelf.
I do.
Swoop in. Get it before it's out.
Don't let everyone know I get the pre-sniff. Don't let everyone know about the pre-sniff.
But so it's that, and that Manchester story relates back to like having a nice atmosphere. Like you know what I mean? Don't make it awkward for people to be in there. That is awful, and no one will ever want to buy anything.
No, it's got to be a nice little vibe, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we'll move on. A fan of your independent store, Gotham Games, and a fan of the podcast, seemingly, Boba Loba. My favourite shop and my favourite podcast combined. Heart eyes emoji. I always try to stop and chat when I'm there. Super nice staff and incredibly knowledgeable. It's compliments left, right, and Chelsea coming in here.
I am pretty great, to be fair.
Yeah.
And so modest.
He's a fan of the show. He's a fan of the shop. Boba Loba. It can't be said how much he's a wonderful man. A little bit like Robin Hood in Time Bandits. Wonderful, great guy. I've spent a few quid in there, that's for sure. I try to avoid using auction sites and social media for my retro pickups, and I'd rather my money went into local businesses. Prices may be a little higher, but I know I'm getting quality, tested products. I don't really have a mind-blowing question though. Can I open a tab in store? Laughing till I cry emoji. Tab?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it wouldn't be the first, would he?
Shall we move on?
Listen, Mumsy.
Is that technically a tab?
Mumsy has a very svelte figure because she survives on cuppa soups. It works both ways round. Up next, we've got. That was a plump for your shop from Boba Loba, and tab opened. Bet you didn't think that was going to happen. My gaming space. I recommend at Sore Thumbs. This was so we must recommend. I don't think their name's at, but we'll go with it. Sore Thumbs Retro Games in York. It's a great place. 300-mile round trip when I pay them a visit. There isn't anything round here really other than the CEX style stores, and then the retro prices are sky high.
I've been to Sore Thumb. Sore Thumb's a nice shop, yeah.
Like this kind of. I'm not going. Don't worry. Don't panic. I won't be going up there.
They do stock some weird stuff like laser discs.
Oh, maybe I'm going up there.
And you're big into imports. They do a lot of import stuff. That's like their niche.
Do you think they've got Africa on PS3? I need that game.
I'll message him.
See if. Oh God. I feel like some sort of weird crackhead in the village now. Very strange. Next up.
Do you want me to take one?
Yeah, why don't you? This is
Comic Pictures 79.
You're going to have to do some serious lore explanation here for the first sentence.
I certainly am. My question would be, are you going to be getting any Pumpo Fonks in? ? We'll explain that in a minute. I wonder, as an independent gaming store, whether they use a CX site as a guide to the value of games and hardware. Good question. That I traded in, and do they find that they have perhaps beat those prices by, say, £1 on both sale price and store credit to make sure people use them for trades? Or if they price match, do they find that people use them because of the better vibe their store will obviously have over places like CX and Game? So, first up, do you look at prices on...
What the hell
we better talk about Pumpo Fonks, don't we?
So I slipped up a week ago.
You explain.
We were in Stingray's boot, which we're going to get to, listener Stingray, and someone had a collection of, let me put my teeth in and arrange my jaw, Pop Funkos. But I couldn't say it and came out with Pumpo Fonks. And the community decided to rally round and then start creating a whole set of the hardcore community's Pumpo Fonks.
Yeah, I saw the post on that one.
Oh, you did?
Now I know the story.
Now you know the full ins and outs of what that's all about. And the next part of that question is, do you use a CX site, and then do you feel you need to beat them to make that happen, or is it your vibe and charisma that brings people here?
So it says, do you use a CX site as a guide to find the value of games? No, but you do use it as a guide to find the value that CEX does pay for games. You know, they're not right all the time, but you do look at it, because why not? The information's there. You may as well factor that in when you're looking.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? I don't just pull numbers out of a secret place. That's
not
PG.
like me. I'm normally within £1, to be fair.
But so you look, but nothing's a Bible, nothing's set in stone with stuff like this. There is no de facto price guide or anything. So you look, sure, and you always try and beat it, because sometimes sometimes they're miles off anyway. So you don't even, what I mean? Like, GameCube games are really weird. If you look on their website, a lot of them, it'll be the trade-in price is 10% of the selling price. So obviously you just ignore that, because that's really tight. That's harsh. You know what I mean? Like one buy for £1, sell for 10. Like, that's brutal.
I'd share a little quick story there on the subject of that. I went to this is where I really had my pants pulled down. I went to CEX a number of years ago and took my GameCube with its full collection of games, including Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Resident Evil 4, which I now both believe are quite sought after, and had some other sort of rare titles on there as well. Full collection, £100. I thought that was amazing, but now I look at some of those games are probably worth near £100.
Twilight Princess is like 60 to 70 off the top of my head, and that's probably
Scary.
no ball in it.
So I think
Cube is an expensive console.
Yeah,
like,
I truly wish I had that console. I kept that and kept the collection.
I mean, I've got a Cube and I've got some random titles for it, but it's one of those funny consoles that, apart from some of the sort of Nintendo heavy hitters, a lot of it was just on every other format. There's a lot of chelp in there.
But also it'll be on every other format, and the GameCube title will be half the time like 3 times the price of just picking it up on PS2.
True, yeah.
Need for Speed Underground.
So if you're not specifically going for a GameCube collection, it is always better to just grab the PS2 or Xbox version.
I don't even know how it stacks up. GameCube, is it?
It's the most powerful of its generation.
More powerful than Xbox.
Yeah, I think so.
It is.
Wow. I'll agree with that.
So and it sold rubbish. So why do you think with the Wii, Nintendo went, right, we're not doing the most powerful console anymore. We're going to do something crazy.
But they added no faith. They added backwards compatibility and some GameCube ports.
That's because it is a GameCube, mate.
It is.
Yeah, high-powered GameCube with expansion pack in.
Yeah.
I love the Cube, but anyway, we're digressing.
Next up, a question from Mr. Pumpkin 666. He's kept it very short and succinct. He says, what is his best-selling game stroke gaming item? And I don't mean a blood clot in the brain, I mean Andor.
So, again, this is another one that's a little different because our stock is based on just what we have. So I'm going to answer it as if we could source everything infinitely, and it was so the only gating factor was how much people wanted to buy it, it would be like literally anything with the word Pokemon on it.
Yes.
It always makes me laugh because you always get people coming to the shop and look around and go like, oh, is Pokemon coming back? And it's like, dude, it never went away. Like, it has always been, you know, just so popular.
So if I bimbled in with a suitcase full of Pokemon Blues, you'd be happy.
Pokemon Blues, Pokemon Reds, even the DS ones, Pokemon cards, Pokemon toys, Pokemon.
What about a set of Pokemon marbles?
Someone to buy it. We've had them. I've sold them. I've sold Pokemon marbles.
I bought them.
Did you? Did you? Was it with the little pouch?
Little drawstring bag. A little display case that's a Pokeball with the lit up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. That.
The battle mat.
It's all coming out now.
All the guilty secrets. This is why you get paid in kind.
For my silence.
For your silence.
Like a young BBC presenter.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's all
controversial.
Fine.
Do you want to take the next question?
Eslo and Midner, a long-time listener, asks, how does Gotham Games UK see the future of games retail with the current dominance of digital? Do you think there will be a future where people prefer owning games on physical media once again, similar to the re-emergence of new music sales on vinyl for collectors?
So I'm going to throw him on the quick fact. I mean, digital is the way a lot of it's going, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that sold the best physical out of any since like pre-PS4 days.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason that one game is the bastion of no, I'm gonna get the disc.
I think there's a lot of people like, oh, I'm hardcore Call of Duty from back in the day, I'm getting that.
But
For the audio
Oh no!
podcast,
Wait, tell
I'm
you what,
pointing
no,
at
no,
Sir Tom.
It is a cracking game, though.
It is, or it's
I love
good.
the
It's back to
campaign.
being good. Yeah, it is real good campaign.
Should have just called it something else.
They should have.
I
This is
yeah,
what games
it's
and
true,
films
it's
do
true.
now.
Yeah, it is.
I
yeah.
hate it because it's
Yeah.
stamping out new stuff coming up.
No, but it's not a remake. It's literally just a new game.
I know, but
Yeah.
they
The
had to
name.
put the marketable name on it, so people that maybe even haven't got a PS4.
It's sad,
or
isn't it,
Xbox
that they won't take the risks, but I think it maybe would get crushed a little bit if it didn't.
I don't know. It is funny because it's the one where they've done like this weird tactic to maybe get more sales. Is the best
I
one
wonder.
they've done
Now that
in years anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
now that we've got a third person in the room,
Yes.
we should ask this question: the price verse. Are you aware of this? It's
Oh,
something that we
no.
cooked up. You know, in Call of Duty, Captain Price is in like World War II.
Yeah.
So we envisaged there was this world, this Captain
Like
Price
the Marvel
verse,
verse. And,
where
and
we
so
might one
forth.
day have all the different versions of Captain Price assembled in one game.
I was thinking more like Doctor Who.
Yes.
But they do the
That
same
would be
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
I think like a time traveling Captain Price, where he. Have you ever seen the start, either of you, of one of the Wolverine films, where him and his brother are basically fighting through all like American Civil War, World War One, Vietnam.
Is that just the first X-Men film, or is it
Oh, it
X-Men
could
Origins?
be. Yeah, it might be
Don't know.
X-Men Origins.
Oranges.
Oranges, X-Men
Stingray
Oranges.
special that.
It'd be a better film, honestly.
But yeah, that would be quite cool to see him do something like that.
We as always we get
Carried away.
carried away with our own
Who we got
stories
next?
and lore.
Yeah.
Well, hang on a minute.
As I am Captain Derail,
sorry, yes.
apparently. Let's go back to the question.
You
Yeah.
are right.
Now, so yeah, moving to physical. What happened with music?
Exactly.
Music went digital, and yet HMV they got screwed basically.
Yeah.
But they're bouncing back.
Because of records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think when you go in there, obviously a lot of the vinyl, it's not original vinyl, it's repressed
It's
stuff.
repressed.
Can you see a moment in time where Sega and Nintendo re-release? It says reproduction on it, but a copy of Sonic
Ooh,
1
that'd be
and
interesting.
Mario All Stars and all that sort of stuff, and you buy it, and you buy like a. You can get an original NES and it'll work, but Nintendo and Sega have actually re-released the original hardware, probably cheap-ass chipset inside, but you know, whatever it is. And the real hi-fi guys, they go and get a Mark 1 Genesis,
Yeah.
high-fidelity sound, all that. Can you see that happening?
I can genuinely see that happening. But on the subject of represses, Yakuza got repressed. Do you remember?
Yakuza
In
2.
America, they repressed Yakuza 2 and 3, I think. Oh no, not 2. It was 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The PS2 ones.
I still
They
need...
reprinted them like last year, which is crazy. You wouldn't think the stuff would be there to do a PS2 game, but it was.
I would... That's one game I still need to get, Yakuza 2 on PS2. You know, if it comes in.
It's on the radar.
That's me prepping my
We
babes.
kind of have like these reprints in some respect with like if you look how they packaged the Mega Drive Mini, it is just the original box art.
I tell you, it's a shame they just didn't put a little. They should have enlarged the top a little bit more, so you could have actually put original hardware in and play it off that way.
I think that's a little unfair on the consumer. It's like, would it have really hurt to make that happen?
Not at all.
But weirdly, all the old ones that weren't made by Sega, the licensed ones by At Games, they all took
yes.
original cards.
Yeah, they did.
They just
They weren't
all
very
had
good
a
though, were they?
janky sound.
Yeah.
Although, do you know what? I played with one of the last ones they did before Sega went, we'll do it now.
Yeah.
Which was a HDMI one. And genuinely, I was like, the sound on that was good.
Yeah.
And that was pretty good. And it's got save states like all the mini consoles did, but
Yeah.
even for your carts.
Wow.
So it's like, that's actually a good little thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice way of playing the older games without going and forking out for what the Retron 5s or whatever they're called.
Yeah, it's especially if you've not got an old TV or you don't want to, because obviously there's always ways to get old consoles on new TVs.
Yeah.
I'm always telling people about them, but there is a certain nicety to if you're not bothered about having the original hardware but want the original games, getting a thing where it's like HDMI done, old 30-year-old cart, brand new device, done.
Magic. Although I think there's some, from memory, I'm going to get a little full geek on this, there are some games that don't work in it, that relied on certain elements of the chipset to make them play. Just as an aside, if someone's decided to go full out on eBay and get, I don't know, some bizarre game that probably won't Bubsy or something random that won't work. Next up, the Gamer's Bermuda. Has it become harder and harder to sell video games as an independent store that's going against video game giants like GameStop, Target, Walmart and Best Buy? Bear with him, he's obviously in Bermuda, so the equivalents here would be Game, Tesco's and Asda and Argos.
Yeah, it's weird though, like supermarkets don't sell games like they used to, do they?
No. Not
literally on the way to the podcast, sorry to interrupt, I went into Tesco to try and purchase a new release, which we'll get to in the new releases, and they didn't have it, and also the service was a bit like not the best, and I think it would just be amazing if
the thing is you're asking Maureen from aisle 3 who's stocking tomatoes to give a rat's ass about this certain video game that you want to buy.
That's a good point.
I'll
let her off
because it's probably
poor old Maureen.
I'm going to get a physical copy of that now.
You will as well.
Of course.
I'll trade you. I'll trade you me £20 PlayStation voucher I got.
Maybe.
For 20 cash.
For real money.
For real money.
Well, I've got my eyes on Driver 1 and 2, and you've put a £5 in my pocket, and I'm sure if I wink and straight, we can make that happen. I'll probably have to woe him.
Yeah. Sorry, Tom. How do you? Going back to that, is it difficult competing against some of the bigger chains?
No, because of the focus on retro, really. It's like, you've carved out that niche and it's something completely different.
Sure.
So, that's not too huge of a factor, really, I would say.
As we know, retro is very popular.
Everyone loves the retro apart from you.
Yeah.
As proved last week.
Yes.
I can bend the question slightly. So 2015 is like when I took this on, and then it was about a year later where CEX, which for people who are listening in America is like big chain second-hand shop that mainly does games and phones and stuff, but now they've started to do retro, and obviously so that is now something that you compete against, but at the risk of sounding like a cocky, it's not too hard. Like, they don't train their staff about any of the retro stuff.
No.
So they don't have a clue what's going on, and it's a mess. And
I think they
don't clean
sometimes
stuff properly, and
they buy things in by mistake. An unboxed copy of XYZ, but they'll slap it out at the box mint price.
Yeah.
All sorts
or
of
they'll just
stuff.
get the wrong game or something.
Yeah.
That's not too hard.
Case in point, Panzer Dragoon Saga marked up at £400, and it was just Panzer Dragoon 2.
Oh yeah, I've seen that making it. Yeah, if you go on Twitter and someone should do a hashtag for that, like CEX blunders or something.
I think that could happen.
Of just where something's gone wrong. I've seen a few.
The guy who went in that afternoon
media
with some Saturn games and walked out with like 300 quid. And
he was
like,
laughing.
Or more the fool, the person that goes in there that doesn't really know what they're buying but thinks, well, that looks like an investment, that's an expensive game, I'll get that, and they think they've got Panzer Dragoon Saga but don't.
What gets it is that they sell online, don't they? And on the website it's just all of the shops are like pooled into one website, and you order that. I can't imagine anyone buys something online because you don't even get a picture of what you're buying.
Some people do. There's some people that
You're taking a punt though, aren't you?
Well, you are, big time.
Especially if you order Panzer Dragoon Saga and get Panzer Dragoon.
Oh.
Which, me and you are laughing because we know what it is, and I feel like that's such an inside joke, but one's a 400, but it's not, I think, 250 something game, is it?
I think now it's about 400 quid.
And Panzer Dragoon's like 12?
To be honest, it's gone up in value.
Yeah, I think
it used to be sort of 50p,
20,
didn't it?
Has it gone up in value because people are buying it thinking it's the other one? And
I think people probably want the full
everyone's going, oh, that's really rare.
They want the full set, don't they?
And it is a good game in its own right.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The first one's a bit clunky. The second one feels really good. People who buy Saga, I sometimes scratch my head and think, like, do they know what they're buying? Because it's a very out there game, isn't it? It's not like the first games.
It's an RPG, isn't it?
Yeah, but the battles are turn-based. It's out there. Anyway,
I want to ask Tom a quick question because
why are you asking like a primary school kid who wants a Wii?
Rubbing his hands on his knees.
What are you wiping off your hands?
Do you have any amiibo?
No.
That's answered that.
Get back in your seat.
Oh.
Get mumsy dab the bib around your chops.
Do they get traded in at all still?
They do get traded in, but they always sell super quick.
Yeah.
I sell them cheap, so they go quick.
I'll be paying a visit then.
But
you got to come more than once.
Well, I've got insider information now.
I'm not telling you nothing.
Oh. It takes.
It was going to tell us some more about them. They just go.
Yeah.
Nintendo
that's
tap
it.
sells
They just go,
like hotcakes. Next up, a little bit more lore for the show, but Finster Gamer. He's actually got a shop in the village. Bizarrely, he's a proprietor of Finster Games. He understands the trials on today's high street. Although the fact that this is a 100% fictional store could be the main reason I make absolutely no money from it. On a serious note, though, me and my girlfriend do actually own a vintage clothing shop. How is your town for business rates? I find that here the council make it so expensive for an independent business that there are rows and rows of vacant premises. Our building is privately owned, so we pay rent, but then there are business rates on top of that. Here we also have something called BID, B-I-D, to help independent businesses by rinsing all of their money, which is extremely helpful.
We'll get to BID. So let's break it down from the top. So business rates. They're not too bad here, actually, because this is a council-owned building that I have. So the rent is quite modest compared to all the ones owned by the co-op.
Yeah.
In fact, because I can do that numbers, there's further down the street there's a shop just come up for let that was like the teddy bear shop, Stonebow Bears.
Oh yeah.
And that's about the size of this room we're recording in now, right?
Yes, it is, yeah.
And this is, what would I say, like an eighth of my total shop.
Yeah.
And it's the same rent.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
As this place, and it is tiny.
Yeah.
And that's owned by the co-op. They're like the land barons.
The mafia.
Of Lincoln. It's like, I thought today coming here, I've got to be careful, don't slag anyone off, but I can obviously,
Oh, the co-op.
I can drag them through the mud.
Completely.
They're ridiculous. They own like most of the premises in Lincoln, and if there's an empty building, it's co-op.
Let's face it, they're losing the battle of the little street stores these days against people like pop-ups like Tesco Extra or little Tesco Minis. So they're just extrapolating that money through these.
Do you think they know, like, obviously the high street is suffering, so they're kind of making as much as they can while they can, or?
Well, you don't make any money for an empty building. So
that's true, yeah.
It's always the weird perspective. I hear about, I don't know how true this is, we'll take it with a grain of salt, but I've heard shakings about like if they lower the rent, the value of the property as an asset goes down, and with all the money tied up in it with investments of going, we have this in our portfolio and it is worth this because it has a rentable value of this.
Yeah.
And if they lower the rent, all that comes crashing down because you just capitalism stuff, I guess.
The village we live in is called Farmerton, and it's almost like the Bermuda Triangle because no one can ever find it on a map. And there's a town near Farmerton called Sleaford, and the co-op owner Muse, and every single one of those stores, bar two of them, is empty. And has been for 5 years. It makes no sense, does it? I mean, that's what's killing the high street. Not people wanting to have a go, just the price of entry alone. It makes it unprohibitive.
It's the same in G-Town, to be fair.
Grantham.
Yeah.
So Grantham, Lincoln, draw the triangle, drop a pound in it,
in the middle.
spin it up, spin round twice. That's how you summon Stingray, but in this instance, say find Farmerton.
So
next question.
No, the last bit.
Oh, there's more.
BID. It's called Business Improvement District. If you have a business, you're a member of one. I say member, you're forced to. And they call it a levy. It's like all our members. Look, I'm not a member. It's a tax. I have to pay it. If you're gonna tax, you call it a tax. And what it is, you pay some money, and there's this company called Lincoln Big, which what you do is you pay for some guy to sit in an office and not do anything. And I walk past that and I go, look, he's having a great time on my money.
What are they meant to do?
So they do stuff like they're meant to do stuff that brings people to the sea. And do you remember a few years ago, like the one good thing they have ever done? Well, they did it twice. Do you remember the Knights Trail and the Barons Trail?
Yeah.
They did that. And I was like, do you know what? That was genuinely a really good thing.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It did make a difference to business. And I was like, this is really good. And then they didn't do it anymore. It's coming back this year, though.
This is going to sound like one of my career-soaked fever dreams. But did they also pay for that water slide that went from the top of Steep Hill to the bottom?
Yes.
That
they
was
used
money
to
well
do
spent.
with the ice ring and stuff like that.
Oh,
they don't do that anymore. They're doing the trail again. Have you seen it? It's a Lincoln imp atop a pillar, and it's got one leg hanging down, and it looks a bit rude.
Oh,
like he's a well-endowed imp.
An appendage.
And it's called like the cheeky imp and all, and it's like, who designed these? Oh my word.
Mr.
Taste of the
Tumnus
Baron.
from Lion Witch in the Wardrobe Extreme Edition.
But, so
Wow, that classic.
yeah,
Mr.
that's the
Tumnus.
one good thing they do. But like sometimes I walk around town and I see, like, you know, Boots has got a mural painted on the empty Boots building.
Oh, they have, haven't
Yes.
they?
Yeah, I paid for that. That's my graffiti.
That's your imp.
Yeah.
That's an imp as well.
Don't draw something on my shop, do they?
No.
Ridiculous. But no, I think it is stupid. And the salt in the wound is you have to vote for it every so often. So obviously, as you've heard from my vitriol, I put no every single time with a smile on my face. And they nearly didn't make it. It nearly got like abolished essentially. So I guess that's why that trail's coming back now, because like, oh, we've got to do something.
We need to do something.
We need to look like we're busy.
Do all the stores,
they
or
send
do
you
have
a
to
letter
be-
saying thank you for voting for us, and I was like, I didn't vote for you.
Do you have to be so if you're a chain, you don't pay into this, but if you're an
No, I think
independent
chains
business,
pay it as well.
Oh, okay, all right.
But it just obviously they can take the hit more, you know.
The gaming event they had at the Engine Shed, is that open to? Would that be something you could go to
What
and
do you
have
mean
like?
by the gaming event? Do you mean
They
that
had
there was
a-
like a festival by
Yeah,
the guy
that was
who
it.
run the comic convention? It was the same guy.
That
I was
bracket-
there.
Yeah, I didn't know whether you could have had or did have a stand there to. How did that go?
I made some money. We took mostly merch because the store was still open. And yeah, we had a really good day at the store. And yeah, I took loads of merch and sold loads of.
I didn't know whether that was one of the ideas they came up with, but it probably sounds.
That's just some guy who ran his own event.
Yeah. Okay.
No, they
Is that
don't.
happening again, or did that?
I don't know.
Okay.
The guy was quite disorganised. It was a bit of a mess.
Mhm.
I did well out of it.
Well, we would, yeah.
Yeah, you can do unofficial controller con at the Engine Shed. There you go. Live talks.
It's happening.
Special guests.
We'll build up to that.
For just quickly, for any listeners who fancy meeting up, really, we're going to go to EGX this year, aren't we?
Once again, spending money me and Ponsonbury haven't got, but there you go. Media passes, they're free.
Are they?
You can.
I
work
hope they are.
Why don't you work on securing a couple?
I will do that.
I guarantee you, the day before
tightened up the purse
EGX,
strings on them.
it will be. Have you managed to speak to them, George? Like, no, Tom. Why have you not done anything? Well, I've been busy writing the GameCube episode that's meant to be coming out.
It was meant to be coming out early March, now coming out early March 2021.
It was one or the other, and I did neither. Next, Odders. He's a long-time fan of the show. He's also... Oh no, has he been a winner yet? He's had a whole segment named after him, so you know he's not doing too bad.
Yeah. Odders, got to say, growing up, what was your experience of gaming retail? Were there independent gaming shops, or was it the usual high street shops like Game, Electronics Boutique, Future Zone, I'm showing my age now, Virgin Megastore, etc., which always had a great game section?
I loved it.
So, where did you tend to buy your games back in the day?
You can't tell from my voice, but I was born and bred in Wigan. If you must know, it's an embarrassing accent. I won't do it. But everyone listening knows the accent. You've heard Peter Kay. He's spoken on the telly.
Yes.
So yeah, that. So in Wigan, we had nothing. Literally, there was no Game, no Electronics Boutique, nothing like that. No Virgin Megastores. We had a stall in the market called The Cage, because it used, those rack shelves.
Yes, yeah.
It literally was a cage, and that's where I bought all my games from. So that's another thing where, so to me, I got weirded out when I first started working here and find out there's people out there in the world who don't like buying second-hand things or games. I was like, when I was a kid, I could literally only buy second-hand games.
That's a very weird way into, let's say you get your PS2 for Christmas, let's say Mumsy and Dadsy ponied up, they went to Argos, they bought it.
Oh, by that time it got better.
Your medium into it was only through second-hand games, so everything felt like it had this sort of strange mystery to it.
But yeah, so it was early 90s, there was just The Cage, and then I think W.H. Smith sold games at that point.
Yeah.
And then later on, when we got the PlayStation, Game Station had arrived in Wigan, and that was I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
They had new games and used games.
Yeah,
Had they
I had all the
holds?
games. I wasn't buying the new games though.
5 for £20.
Yeah.
That sort of tat.
Oh yeah, I was that sustained me growing up. The 4 for £20 picking so
Pick and mix.
one of my employee Josh friend. I should call him friend. He was a friend first. Josh always rags on me because my collection of games growing up was awful. I did not have the games that you think are the good ones. I had just junk.
What was
so many rubbish games.
Indulge me. What was your favourite junk game?
Have you heard of World Destruction League Thunder Tanks on the PS2?
I have.
I used to play that so much in split screen with a multi-tap 4-player with the neighbours' kids.
Wow.
And it's not a good game. It is awful.
Yeah,
and
but
it's one of those games where there's sound bites, but only about 5, and it just plays them over and over again.
I told
because it's meant to be like a commentator. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I told you Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks was a good game.
As an independent voice for 1 week on the show, what's your thoughts on Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks? The RPG section.
It's not a good game.
Authoritative decision. It is not.
But
there's a but.
I will say,
ignore everything before because there's a but.
I used to play games bought from the Morrison Spinner, Extreme Express, the train racing game. Used to love that.
I bought a fishing and hunting game for the PS2 from the Morrison Spinner.
Morrison's Game Zone, $9.99, brand new.
Deer Hunter 6 or something random like that. So hopefully that's answered Odyssey's questions. I remember hearing Sunny Lincoln, where Electronics Boutique used to be.
Did it used to be near Waterstone, where the big Waterstones is?
Yeah.
It's that, but
that's only just moved from there.
The game that has just closed.
No,
Life is
actually
Easy.
in that central building.
No, I don't think so. It's always been.
It must have been a toy shop.
And when it first opened, it was Virgin Megastore, and they even sold Atari ST games. I remember going in there with my dad, and I was like, oh my goodness, because prior to that, there was a little shop on, it's almost like a... used
Monks
to be
Road.
No,
Phoenix?
There was Phoenix Games.
I know about that
one. Where they've knocked it all down and there was a butcher's there and the new bus station is?
Yeah.
There was a little shop that smelt of sweat and a father and son ran it. They were sweet people, so I don't want to beat them down too much. And it was wood panelled. Had loads of tape cassettes in there, and that's where you went to get games before Virgin Megastore arrived. Micropoint.
No, I've heard. Well, I say heard of that one. Obviously, because you're dealing retro, sometimes you find old stickers and old receipts. Yeah, those two names, Phoenix on Monks Road and the Micro one, I have found stickers from.
Request. If you ever find anything from Micropoint again, I'll want it.
Not Phoenix though.
He was a bit strange because he wasn't strange as a person, but you walked in. It was like you walked. In terrace houses where they're joined and you get that little walkway and you have to go in through the side. Yeah. You went in through the side and you kind of avoided the stairs that are right in front of you and you walked into what would have been the front room.
I'm guessing the stairs literally just up to the guy's bedroom.
From what I remember. and then he just had wall-to-wall stuff and I can't remember. I've bought a Jaguar 2 times, an Atari Jaguar. I've bought one twice in my life. Once from there and I had that awful game, was it Cybermorph?
Yep.
And I brought that home when it was meant to be cutting edge and I think my man walked in and was like, what's this you've traded in for? It was like, this. I don't think that's any better than what you had before. And I'm thinking, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's
crushed.
Yeah, but come on, the Jaguar comes in a great box. Top 10 video console boxes right there. There's 2 eyes on the front.
This is a guilty confession. I've bought another one since, and I can't remember whether I sold it to you.
Maybe.
Or whether I've still got it somewhere in my piles of... I sound like a hoarder, but we've got a 40, 50 level bunker to put all this stuff in. Tom moved out, so we ain't got the room, but I've still got plenty of the room.
Look at
the Jaguar
That
box.
is beautiful.
For the audio podcast, we're now
fair.
looking at the sexy Jaguar
Mis-sells the console.
Very nice.
Completely. and to top it off, the Jaguar underperformed so well that a dentist company repurposed the plastic shell to put their hygienic teeth cleaning equipment in.
You are a man of facts, as
and
always.
Then someone else bought it from that company. It was Kickstarter, how it's like land of cool things but also a lot of failed projects. There was a return of the ColecoVision.
Wow.
And they were putting it in the Jaguar case.
That's just naughty. That's like some sort of like horror movie.
It's forbidden love.
We've got another loyal listener, C. Pliskin.
He's got a question for Tom first. Are you motivated to run in your own business by the prospect of preserving forgotten or prominent aspects of pre-2000 gaming, or as a chance to meet fellow gamers for discussions on retro games?
Yeah, you know, just capitalism things. No. No, it's... I don't really know how to answer this one. I even didn't write something down. Yeah, it's all the aspects of it are good. I don't have one favourite thing. It's nice being my own boss.
Yeah.
It's although sometimes it's not nice. It's nice meeting people. Although sometimes you meet some right weirdos. And sometimes you get threatened, and sometimes you have to deal with stuff like that, and sometimes you get robbed. But you know, you're still motivated from all the good things, all the good sides of people, all the great people that I meet.
What's the weirdest thing anyone's tried to trade in or left in a box or?
Oh,
we forgot about the story.
The story.
Okay.
You have a story to wield out. Now's the time to pop it in. Don't forget, we're a PG podcast. So you're gonna have to come up with some sort of weird.
It's called.
Innuendos.
The story is called The List.
Okay.
But we'll do part one first. This was back in the old market. It's like a prequel. It doesn't involve a list, but basically it was back in the market. It was you get this quite a lot. Like a mum traded in her kids' games.
Yeah.
Obviously, when they hand over the games, you open it, check the disc, scan it, you know, beep, open it. There was a strip of condoms.
Nice.
That's embarrassing for Mumsy.
Yeah, and she was possibly the most uptight person I've ever seen. And she just ceased trading in the games. She was so embarrassed. She was like, oh, just took it all back and went. And I imagine, yeah, that was fun. And it was a copy of Virtua Tennis 4 on the Xbox 360, in case you were wondering. So just imagine, you know, Johnny brings a girl back to his place, the mood. Who says that 1 second? Let me just get Virtua Tennis out.
Oh my god! Imagine if you had a Ranger console as well. Like, it must be this one.
What different flavours in different different games?
Maybe Virtua Tennis was a pseudonym for like the first time, so that was the V box, and he had some other stuff. Oh god, we can't. It's a PG podcast. We're locked in.
Okay, so part two.
The new hope of the story.
Premises, and this wasn't like sometimes stuff gets traded and it's got like cheats or something, you know, stuffed in it, receipts printed out, game FAQs.
I live for that stuff.
Yeah, you won't live for this. So
I might.
It was Half-Life on the PlayStation 2, and it essentially had someone's bucket list, but it wasn't like a normal bucket list. It was exclusively a sexual bucket list.
What of moves and things or people?
It was weird. Like it was someone with quite clearly an acquired taste for. God, do you know how hard this is for PG? Okay, but you know, one of them was be stripped naked, tied to a tree, and left overnight. Like it was really weird stuff on there.
Wow.
I don't know what. I can't really say any of the others. Within the realms of PG, but
did said person come back in ever again to trade anything?
The thing is that I don't know.
Well, I suppose
I don't know. Like it was.
Yeah, I suppose if you
it was just. It was like. You know, we don't always put stuff straight out.
Yeah, no.
So
absolutely.
we didn't find it on trading. So it could be someone who I see every day, and I don't know. But it was.
If you're out there,
what game was it again?
Half-Life on the PS2.
Oh, look how he's looking shady. Shall we? We better move on.
Tied to a tree.
It was a long list. To A4, double-sided, handwritten, quite bad handwriting.
Yeah.
C. Pliskin has also got a question for me and you, George. I'm a 2000s kid who never played retro games when I was younger, except for Mario Bros. Deluxe and a Scooby-Doo themed game on a Game Boy Color. So, would you recommend Gotham Games? Should you want to try part of the game in history? I'll probably visit the next time I'm in the UK.
See, Pliskin, if you're coming to the UK and you're coming to the fine city of Lincoln, if you don't come to Gotham Games, you need your head inspecting. We'll get
You're
to
missing
another
out.
listener that came on a tour of the UK and stopped off at the immortal Gotham Games, as I'll call them. Absolutely, yes, you should. Even if it's just to walk around and let's face it, somewhere in here, you've actually got some NTSC games. So he could take something home if he's from America, right?
But don't forget Mega Drive. They didn't do that region lock-in. You
no?
have your Sega Genesis over in the Land of Freedom. You can get a Mega Drive game, slap it in, golden.
Boom.
Completely region free.
Very good.
Also, all handhelds pretty much region free.
Yeah, I remember playing
Game Boy.
I remember buying a lot of Jap games from Grantham Computer Centre for the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all region free, and because they're on handhelds, a lot of them, obviously don't buy RPGs if they're Japanese because you can't play them because you can't read it.
I
But you
struggled with Advance Wars.
That's what's held me back from Yakuza on the PSP.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's only Japanese edition.
Yeah,
available.
but it's made by AKI, who made No Mercy and Def Jam Vendetta, etc. So very, very good game.
But I definitely would visit, I think, and get a Game Boy.
Get a Game Boy. There you go, C. Pliskin.
We've got another independent gaming store, Memory, from Dugan McBain.
Shall I wheel this one out?
Go for it.
I can think of a question. I can't think of a question, but I do remember going into GeForce in Motherwell at the height of the Dreamcast days. He did say he treats
That's a small
like a
window, the
confessional.
height of the Dreamcast.
He walked in,
week.
and immediately my backpack caught on one of the shelves, pulling down half a dozen of Dreamcast games. As you know, the cases are not the sturdiest of things, so it's safe to say there was a fair bit of plastic shrapnel flying around the store. That was an expensive visit.
They are the most fragile games for sure. And I got a little story. There was a guy who traded in a bunch of games, and he used to polish the cases.
Oh, I do that. They get slippy.
Real slippy. Dreamcast games, ridiculous. They all got smashed because people were like, no matter how much we cleaned it, we couldn't get rid of the sheen.
Yeah.
No chemical was bringing off the sheen.
No.
And so customers would be like, pick it up, put it down, dropped, and I won't forget it. But I think most Dreamcast collectors have accepted that the games are going to have some cracks.
So
you're going to
far,
have some bits missing.
mine have survived, although I polished them, and there was one time when I was sort of, I decided, I'll go get all my Dreamcast games out and look at them, and I started to stack them up, and I just sort of looked round.
Don't stack them.
And they just sort of went, no!
Timber.
But they survived. I don't know what mine are made of. Probably they're just the special uranium core cases. That I say that now.
You
they're
got
a
hard
box
floor,
at the
though.
moment. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
Well, we've got another man from the good old USA.
Yes.
Chronicles a Gamer. He's actually been on a visit from the United States. He says, "Have you
been to this very store?
Unbelievable.
Small world or what?
Definitely. Have you ever had any trade-ins that were crazy expensive that the owner didn't realise how valuable they were?" That's his first question. If you want to tackle that first, Tom.
Well, there's like two parts. I mean, all the time. A lot of people don't know what things are worth.
Yeah.
But I am honest.
He is a good.
Another good reason to come here, listeners.
But
Very good.
like sometimes people are shocked at like the price they get for something, and it's like
It's a bit
I
like
thought
the
it was.
Antiques Roadshow
And
here,
you always
isn't
do
it?
you always do. You know, like we joked about like taxi drivers. It's like I hate myself for it, but you always fall back on the same old lines where you go like, "Oh, that'll be you get 60 quid for these," and go, "Oh, really? I was only expecting 10." I'll go, "Oh, well, I can say 10 if you want." It's like, and then I just go, "Oh God, why? Stop it!"
Yeah.
But yeah, all the time. But then sometimes you get people who think things are worth way more than they actually are.
The Facebook ferrets, the ones who think they've got a £400 retro collection.
One look on eBay and not looking at the solds, just at the buy it now. And it's like, well, it says 500, buy it now. It's like, yeah, but no one's going to buy it. So
Yeah.
I think when you're doing that, as a sanity check, you need to go into filter, sort completed items,
Always.
sold items, and then you know the value of the game.
Yeah. That's a bit. Me and my brother got one of the Pokemon card books that you used to store all the cards in, and we've got some what I think reasonably rare ones in there. We have a decent collection. And my brother rang me one day. He's like, "Oh, we should get on eBay, get them sold now, because they're like on there for massive money." And we looked, they're on there for massive money, but nothing's selling.
No
one's bidding on it. So I think it's always important to actually try and find out the actual realistic selling
That
price.
third mortgage you got?
Yeah.
Based on those cards as a deposit.
Pokemon cards they're one of the biggest like misconceptions.
Yeah.
Of, like, just because they're old. Like there are some really expensive. It's basically, have you got a shiny Charizard, a shiny Venusaur, or a shiny Blastoise? If not, it's not worth that much.
We've got all three.
Well, there you're in the money there.
But we need. I think is there something about the editions that they are?
They did reprints, yeah, but it's really easy to tell because the reprinted ones just say.
I mean,
like,
we're talking probably like when Pokemon Blue and Red were around.
They did original reprints though, like back in the day.
Okay.
But
right.
They're easy to tell apart.
Your collection, it's worthless. Rest it.
You wait. Oh, you still got that Pokemon collection, mate. I'll buy it off you a $5.
Yeah, I'll give you a $5 for a lot.
Swap me a case copy of Dreams. Chronicles of Gamer, his second question. How do you handle zombies, aka people who just walk and look around but never buy anything?
This question was first when it got me because I find the use of the word handle is a bit intimidating. Like, how do you sort them out? What do you do with them? Like, what do you mean? Like, people can come in the shop. That's fine.
He's from
We've all loitered.
True.
You know, we've all had an appointment.
I think it's probably a little bit more frowned on in the US, isn't it? Of like it's probably polite or custom, as so with tips and stuff when they're visiting a restaurant. The same here is. It's almost considered rude to go in somewhere and not buy anything.
That's why I always try and leave with something. Even if it's a 3D printed Pokemon keyring. I've never bought that
obviously
yet.
I like when people buy things, but I don't. Yeah. I never. I've even had people go like, "Oh, sorry," and like, you don't have to apologise. Like, there's no expectation.
Yeah.
Let's reword it this way: do you have any serial zombies? People that come in, week out, never bought a thing, and just hang out in here.
The ones who are the most, I guess I would have to call them the most serial zombies. They don't really talk to me either, which is weird. But then so it's like, well, it literally has zero effect on me, so they can do what they do. But then there was one guy, he comes in every 2 days, I would say, and he'll spend a good 20 minutes looking around every single time. But then every so often he'll make one purchase. He bought Suikoden 2, that's £130.
Wow.
So, you know,
a guy who makes very decisive decisions.
Yeah,
takes his time.
He's a very discerning man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a man of culture. He's a man of fine taste.
Suikoden 2 as well. I mean, it's an expensive game, but in today's world, it's.
Do you think he goes over and pours himself a red wine and has a little mull over?
I can see him doing that.
It sounds like
he's a little bit of a character. Maybe Retro Gamer Thomas. Maybe he comes in.
Fine Chianti.
Fine Chianti. He's nibbling right now on Suikoden 2 as he's listening. Beloved Donna's poured him a glass of craft ale, and he's supping on that and nibbling on Suikoden 2.
I will say, and I'm going to have a slight tangent here, because so obviously this is a cool shop, right? So obviously I get at least one email a day, basically, about people asking if they can work here. Of course,
nice, that's good.
I've got a stack of CVs that I probably should sort through one day, because some of them are probably about 5 years old at this point.
These people might be
keep
dead.
them together. But yeah, and people always talk about how they like games and stuff, and that's not what you need to work here. You need people skills.
Yeah. True.
Because you're interacting with people, and one important skill is not zombies, but people who will come in and want your undivided attention for the longest time, even if you've got other customers that you need to be seeing. And so being able to handle them is like one of the biggest skills, really. Just like having the people skills to go like, I feel like I'm talking it up, but a lot of people do lack this kind of.
In this modern day and age,
these skills. Just be nice to someone, but going, like, well, look, I'm just going to say these guys. We'll carry on later, but I just got to serve these gents, and stuff like that.
I just ask on the subject of that. Do you find that's an age thing, or do you get CVs of a broad age bracket?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not. It's like university age, college age.
Obviously, Lincoln is a very university-based city, really now. I suppose.
It is nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously breaking the podcast fourth wall yet.
How
again.
dare you? You make the rules, you break
I
the rules.
know. I know.
You say
in
don't
mine
let
and
anyone-
yours industries, we deal with a lot of people, don't we? So we have a lot of. I'd like to think we have people skills.
You're a mic muting modern gamer. Don't you slither an ear making out.
I was in Modern Warfare back in the day, mate, where it was
open
like
lobbies.
Yeah.
You said foul things about people's mumsies.
Yeah, that's right.
And when someone said something foul about your mumsy, you cried. Rage quit.
Smashed the controller and went off in a huff.
Actually, I think this guy's a new listener.
Yeah.
Retro
We're
bits.
picking them up.
Yeah, I think they've been looking at the shop. They've been interacting with the shop on Instagram as well.
Very nice. That's good to hear.
So I don't know if they're a new fan or
He says.
an old customer.
He says, "Hi Gotham Games UK. My question for you is: as a business, where do you see yourselves in the future? Will you expand to possibly more locations?"
Oh, this is the big
So
question.
this is the big question, and sort of honestly, no, because I am really hands-on with this, and I just struggle. I hate giving up control of things. This is mine. This is my thing. And it's probably really bad. It's like, it reminds me of, like what you see on like Kitchen Nightmares where they are just so set in their ways. It's like, oh no, that is me. But no, I'm willing to adapt stuff, but I like really being hands-on, and I don't fancy the idea of having multiple shops where I'm like going around and stuff. And no, I like having this. And over the recent, this was like a holdover from the previous owners where I used to be a lot more anonymous than I am now. I'm trying to inject myself more into the shop over the last few years, especially. So yeah, like that. I don't want to. Now that I've done this, I don't want to like dial it back.
You don't want to spread yourself thinner than a catering sandwich's application of Marge, do you?
I'm just living in it. I am Gotham Games, you know.
You are Gotham Games. Fact.
And I used to sort of try and downplay that, but to heck with it.
On the subject of sorry, mate.
As you were, Sir Tom. Lord Tom.
Thank you. On the subject of expanding, I see you've got a few arcade machines. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something you feel you could maybe expand with some extra room and have almost like an old arcade feel vibe in one room?
I'd love to. It's very expensive though.
Oh,
But
the
it's an
cabinets
option,
are expensive.
It's an option.
Okay.
As you're aware right now, that's a point. Like expand to more locations. No. I literally can expand this location though.
Yeah, it's a great. It's a.
Loads
As the
of
man on the
space.
telly says, it's a great space.
It is a great space. Someone who's looking at some great space, Danny Plays. Sadly, my local game shop closed down just before Christmas. Other than that one, there's literally nothing around here. Would love to have my own one day. I don't think we can really wield anything off that. Probably some advice.
Follow your dreams.
That's what I say.
Listen to this.
You build it.
Excellent advice.
I never really. Should I just talk about how I ended up with this place?
Yeah,
real quick.
I think
I
so.
feel like this is probably your longest episode, but maybe I should inject this in here.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
You'll be surprised, but it might be up
Yeah,
there.
but I mean, look how many sheets are there. But
Don't
yeah,
worry
so
about that.
That's 30 seconds of content.
Like
Trust me.
condensed version. Like I was at uni accommodation. I ended up moving
Were you
out.
at uni
Lincoln
here?
Uni,
Yeah, okay.
Didn't like it. With the people I lived with in my second year, I ended up moving out. But I was still paying for it because I was locked into a lease and everything.
Okay.
So I was spending a fortune on trains and everything. So I needed a job, and I was a zombie at Gotham Games. Basically,
Whoa.
I would always nip in between lectures and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I ended up like buying. The owner would be like,
Can you get out of my store?
no. At one point, like started. It was like, I'm on my own today. And I'd just been and got a coffee. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, next time you get me a coffee. I was like, yeah, sure. So I started doing like little coffee runs and stuff, and ended up working there.
Yeah.
And then, as I was moving through university, I decided I was doing like an accountancy degree, and I went, I can't work in an office. I think I'll die. I think I just can't. I'm not compatible with that environment.
Yeah.
And then I ended up, but I stuck out the degree, but I ended up just working at Gotham Games full time. And then one morning, literally just out of the bed, I woke up, checked my phone. And I've never woken up so fast in my entire life because it was literally an email saying, do you want to buy it? After working there for 4 years. You've never woken up so, like, I just like sat bolt upright in bed. My wife was like, what? And I was like, so, I think I need to do some planning and things.
Did the financials of that come together quite easy for you, or did you feel like quite nervous at the time, and you're like, oh God, what am I doing here? I want to buy the shop, but I'm a bit nervous about it because I'll be on the ragged edge and I'm a bit out of my comfort zone.
I took on quite high interest loans to buy this place.
Right.
And
The
I think it's about to run out, which is good.
So you
It's pretty much paid off.
Nice.
But it was like 15% interest or something, Darkness. Yeah, over 5 years. Think of that.
That takes some paying off, doesn't it?
So, yeah, done it, but that was that. But
that's one of those moments where you should have had me on speed dial.
If you want to start a shop, I imagine it would probably be really hard, because the hardest thing to get is stock. It doesn't grow on trees. No. I think you'd just have to accumulate it over years.
Did you bring a lot of your own stuff in as the stock?
I just bought all
basically you bought the job lot.
That was like in the price of the shop. It was like all of the value of this business is the stock, really.
I don't want to scare
the stock,
you,
there's nothing.
But you know all that those mountains and mountains of tat I've bought over the years. I'm preparing to be Farmerton's Bunker Games. This is what I'm planning.
Do you tend to have enough stock replenished through trade-ins, or do you hunt down certain things specifically to sell in the store?
I don't hunt down. It is all what comes through the door, pretty much.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's great because I don't have to wake up early and go to some rubbish car boot at Elmswell.
Yeah, that's.
I've been there a few times. It's depressing.
Yeah, it's very hard work, that is. And there's a lot of car boots. Probably 10 years ago, were like a place to go source bits and bobs. But over the last 10 years, they've become very much like a reseller's place. So unless you're at the gate, someone's going to walk around and buy everything up, even if they've got it 10 or 20 times. Yeah. But then there's also stalls that are reselling this at
actual prices.
Well,
yeah.
actual
do you find
unsold eBay money most of the time. I don't even know what they're thinking.
Yeah. Do you find that they just ramp the price up because they know a bit more about it, or are delusional that they're actually
delusional, and a little knowledge is dangerous.
There is a guy at Hemswell who sells stuff for like the same price that we sell it for here.
Yeah.
And I always think it's like, you know, forgive me for being like high and mighty, but you can't charge the same for the back of a van at a car boot for an actual retail store. Where, you know, because you've got the peace of mind of like, if you can't get it to work, or if there is somehow a problem,
you go there next week.
I'm here.
He's long gone.
Or
isn't
you can
he?
even, you know, social media, all that stuff. We're always helping people set up.
One thing I've noticed with the regular car boot resellers is a lot of their stock is sun damaged, like all the spines
always comes out week after week,
faded, because it's come out week after week in the red hot sun in the summer, and you can just see it, and it's like, when you pull it out and the front's immaculate, you put it back down and the side is barely readable. It's like, that's not full monies.
The worst sun damaged thing I've ever seen, there was a retro game shop in Bridlington. I think it's closed down now, unfortunately. But that was a nice little place. It sold loads of VHS tapes as well for some reason, and no, I am not branching out. Who would? But they had a Sega
Stingray.
Mega Drive in the front window, and it had faded to the point where the box was white and in blank. Now the Mega Drive box is black with a picture of a black console, and it was white, and you could barely see that it had once been a Mega Drive. I only sussed it when I went inside and saw it from the other side of the shop, and was like, "That's a Mega Drive." It's gone white. It's literally gone white.
It's been bleached like bones in the desert. I
feel like such a fool, because you could actually go on Street View and see it, but it's gone now because the shop's gone and Google have done a new Street View. There's a way to... Is there an archive?
Honestly,
there's an archive.
I know this is completely off the subject. I'm really curious because of my work that I do. Sometimes we have quotes done via Google Street View and Google Maps, which in the past has led to some rather horrendous cock-ups. So they have.
Where's your Stetson and pistols and
I'm shooting
Spurs?
Off here. I'm sorry, because I'm just very curious. When did they update it? Does anyone know?
I think it's like every 4 years. It's not that often.
Excellent. That's fine. Question answer.
Say it with confidence. Everyone believes it.
When do they update Google Maps? So is it?
Yeah, like the Street View.
Every 4 years.
Okay.
Because we've got this shop here now instead of it being empty.
Right. So, excellent.
And that was 2015, right? Yeah. 2020, 2019, every 4 or 5 years.
We better close out the feature. We've got taking us to the bridge.
Well, taking us to the bridge in the feature, we've got Daddy Zilla with the next, and he's the muscle of the show. We must say, we'll get to it.
He's like the Mr. T.
He is the Mr. T. He's got a whole family that are into the games and all that good stuff, and we'll get to him in listener Stingray. With the next generation of consoles right around the corner, that means that Xbox 360 and PS3 become another generation older. I predict we will see prices start to go up on these systems. What do you think? Also, what games that are on the cheaper side now do you think will take a big jump in price? For your information, I'm in the US, but it still seems the trends ride along the same lines.
Yeah, so we're going to have to break it down. Like, price is going up a little bit, but I mean, there's still a lot of... Like, you think of, like, Super Nintendo and Mega Drive, like, there's hardly any really cheap games.
No.
Yeah.
Like, the base price is now, like, even rubbish sports titles that are, like, £3, £5.
Oh, I'm in the money.
But, like, so, like, and the PS1, there's still a lot of games that you'll see out on my shelf for, like, £2. Mm-hmm. Like, even that's got to come up first. But, yeah, we will start to see everything will kick up, but so I think in the next generation, yeah, we'll see like PS1 and PS2 start to get more.
Thing is,
PS2 especially. I think.
Yeah, it's some of the games on there have started to pop, haven't they already? Like some of the rare released games, Personas and
all the Japanese like
Zero.
JRPGs.
Yeah, they've all spiked. Well, unless it's poor old Final Fantasy, in which case it was minted by the pure million. That's worth 50p all day long.
But yeah, I mean, it'll creep up, but I think it's a little different now to how it used to be for the generations. Especially like people hang on to stuff a lot longer, and with backwards compatibility, maybe that'll have a spin on things.
I tell you what, if the PS5 ends up being backwards compatible with
the whole shebang,
it will not be backwards compatible with PS3.
I know
you can
it
quote
won't.
me on that.
Well,
like,
PS3,
thanks. The Cell, that was really good. Sony, cheers.
It was a good machine in its own right, but to actually emulate that,
compatibility-wise, it's
you would need some sort of unicorn spinning around with strange tears.
I always have to explain that to customers, like why won't the PS4 go back compatible? It's like, well, think of it this way: all the Xboxes speak English, so they just have to tell it what the game is.
Yeah.
The PS3, that's French.
Yeah.
So it doesn't understand.
Tom, the PS4 is backwards compatible with the PS2.
Leave me alone. I'm not always correct with the facts.
Not always. Oof. Well, we must say, Tom, thank you for your time. We're going to ask you to stick around a little bit longer because we've got a little section we called Listener Stingray, and we want an expert's opinion on the piles of retro games, gems and tats that the listeners have picked up. Then we're going to freewheel into the last bit of the show where the real deal turns up Stingray himself. But
so,
listeners Stingray, when the big man makes a house call, you'd better be ready. These guys got in touch to show us they pick up some Stingrays boot. You can too. Just hashtag Stingrays built on Instagram or Twitter, or email us at questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. Tom had to bridle his mouth because he forgot the format of the show, but now he's going to tell us how we find said Stingrays boot.
Yeah, so if you want to follow along at home or not in your car, because that would be a bad incident, wouldn't it? Jump onto Instagram, type in hashtag Stingrays boot. Go to recent.
You've gone to top.
Why'd you go to recent?
I've gone to recent. It's just on the right of the phone. That's it. Retron 5 is the first pick, and that's from Retro Collector Ray.
See, it's interesting. I actually follow this person, so there you go. I follow people back on the shop account, but it's like at random. There's no criteria. So I guess I've maybe just made them feel special and taken it away.
Wow. Retro Collector Ray, followed by the immortal Gotham Games. There's an accolade and a half.
Next up, we've got Red Zone on the Mega Drive.
What do you make of the Retron 5, Tom, from Gotham?
It's alright. It's a bit unreliable. The NES slot always breaks.
Is the Retron 5? Oh yeah, it's got it on it. It can do GBA as well. That's kind of always intrigued me because it'd be a good way of getting GBAs on the screen in a
nice
cheap
for that.
way.
Yeah.
I guess
and the controller that comes with it is literally one of the worst controllers in the world.
Looking at that picture,
a Neo Geo Pocket style clicky thumbstick.
It looks pretty horrendous.
But you can plug in your originals.
That's nice.
So obviously you do.
I'm going to like that because I haven't yet.
I like that as well.
Next,
these people are getting double pops here, triple pops.
Let's give him one as well.
Triple pop,
3 in a row.
Sega Junkie. He's always got some interesting. He's got Red Zone on the Mega Drive.
Yeah. After that, we've got OG Gamer 550, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed 3.
He's got the Xbox and Xbox 360 and PS3 edition.
No multiple readouts, remember?
Oh, he's got the Immortal Enter the Matrix.
And the Transformers, the game.
And Afro. Oh, I thought it was going to be.
I think that do you know what? You asked me about like games. And that Enter the Matrix game, pretty good.
Yeah,
I like it.
We had that on GameCube.
I've described it as a walk through an Amazon warehouse, though. I think it feels like the first 3/4 of the game is you walking around an empty warehouse shooting security guards for no apparent reason other than story.
Yeah, that's like 90% of the games back then, though.
Filler. What else we got? Welsh Samurai. I don't know about this. Tell me about this. OG game of 550.
Yeah, that's just like one of those. It's got someone famous doing the voice acting. I've forgotten. So there we go. There's a fun fact for you.
Probably Samuel L. Jackson.
I think it is, but I don't want to say it in case it's not, and I just sound racist for just saying.
That's why I said
saying the name of like anyone.
I feel like I played that, and now I've just remembered. I think it was called Dishwater Dead Samurai.
No, Dishwater Samurai was a downloadable title.
Yes.
On Xbox Live Arcade.
For a moment, For a moment, I thought I left the career slope near the air vent again.
No, it's real. I've just been.
Yeah, Afro Samurai. Yeah, it's one of those I know nothing about it, and it's kind of surprisingly rare. Like you don't see it too often.
It's on mine.
It's not
now
on the
my
shelves
list.
too often.
All
right.
We're going to shoot ahead anyway.
Wait, Welsh Game Hunter.
That's where I'm getting to.
Don't
you worry. With the Transformers, you know a bit more about the Transformers.
Yeah, I actually think is it Cyclonus? He's got the yes, it is. He's got the instruction booklet, so it is Cyclonus.
We're going to pass that one.
Just for Tom's info,
Lord Tom has a rule where people aren't allowed double
because it reached the point where we had so much in the boot and it was taking so long. It's no disrespect to anyone's pickups.
Say sorry now.
I'm not saying sorry because it helps the show flow better. Probably to my taste, not to anyone else's. We don't do multiple readouts. We just pick the first one and we have to try and remember the name and make sure they don't.
It's a shame because we often
remember names.
Some gems.
Yeah. Just roll with it. We'll be fine.
Game Racer. He's been and bought himself a £25 PC for playing Richard Burns Rally with an ATA. Tom Gotham should know about this, but the ATI Radeon 2400 XT graphic card. Interesting bit of tap there for playing his old racing games on. What do you think about that? What other games could he run on that beast of a system? What era is that? 2004?
Yes, I want to say my retro computer knowledge is bad. I am sorry. I know 90s and I know sort of fairly current. Got a sweet Windows 98 rig around there if you want it.
How much is that?
I don't know.
Could I run?
Someone told me it's worth 100.
I must be able to run.
I haven't put a price on it.
Ouch.
Must be able to run Command and Conquer Red Alert on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Don't look in my bag of treasure.
Trident Edge is next. I think that's in French, so we'll probably let's see translation. Today we offer you a video about the HDM in Fatal Fury 3: Road to the Final Victory. To know what it is.
I'm not a fan of Fatal Fury. Sorry.
That translation didn't work out very well.
I enjoyed the ad of. Is it? His name is Terry Bogard. He got added to Smash. Yeah.
It's the only thing you know.
It is, yep.
Sega Junkie. I'm going to do this as a multiple readout because he's got Shinobi 3, which is a very hard to find game from memory, and he's also got the gold editions, the reprint.
That looks cool.
Yeah,
I like that. It's nice.
They're a recent one, like a modern reprint thing. Or
no, I think they're a reprint from back in the day. If a game was a big seller, I think they did this sort of limited edition.
Genuinely never seen that.
Well, now you'll know when it crosses your bows, won't you? It won't be £1 anymore. It'll be whatever shill money it needs to be.
Blue Canyon Gaming next got what are these?
NES games.
Yeah, whole of NES games.
Of course. Super Mario Bros gives it away.
Tim Lord. There's another one for the fans to rip me apart. Tim Lord. Make that what you like. Maybe Tim Lord's Pontypridd's unofficial son, a bar steward.
This is a hard challenge here because some of these I cannot remember. Lolo, I want to say it's called The Adventures of Lolo, and it's a box pushing game. I think, if I'm remembering the right.
I tell you what, Sir Tom, he loves a box pushing game.
Yeah,
what's that game you were going to prop out as the best game on?
It wasn't the
best. We did the history
game
of Game Boy, and we did top 5 games, and I tried to pull out some gems, and Tom walked in with this game called Boxel.
Boxel.
Yeah. It's you're trying to pass it off as a Tetris.
The box art this looks like a delivery, like a removals man moving a box. So it's
that's literally the game. You push, you slide it around a puzzle world.
Digital Monkery is next. He's got Sega Mega Drive collection on the PS2.
I want to talk about Risen 2 on the PS3. You know that pirate game?
Pirate RPG.
I need that.
There's 3 Risens, I think. I think maybe the first one's only on PC. Maybe
Is that in that collection?
No, he's doing a double because he's naughty.
I'm doing a double. But we need to do one double for Sega Junkie, because Sega
He's
Junkie...
had a triple, I think.
He's having a quadruple one, as far as I'm concerned. Now,
this is special.
This is special. Now, if memory serves, I'm half confused whether this is one of those Sega karaoke machines, or if it's ultimately... It looks like an amp. He's going to have to get in touch with us and let us know. But it looks incredible, and I would give my hind teeth for a set of Sega themed
looks in pretty good.
Yeah, just that lovely blue logo on the speakers is what.
Yeah,
does
that
it,
looks cool.
Yeah,
That.
it's
That
beautiful.
Nice.
Digital
big stack of
Monkery.
PS2.
No.
This is your domain here, isn't it?
Booter.
Big stack of PS2.
Yeah.
Tap.
Well,
The
today's
Getaway.
Today's
Mark
tap.
Hammond.
That game has not aged well. That game has.
It was
not
awesome.
Aged well, The Getaway is not awesome. It was average at best, and now it's dreadful.
I'll hold my hand up. I like Sonic Heroes, and I know it's not a good game.
Sonic Heroes. That's like a
Great theme tune, though, isn't it?
spiritual successor.
Absolute
really,
banger.
to- Oh,
Metal Gear Solid.
it's no Sonic CD, is it? Let's face facts. PAL version only.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. That's still pretty decent.
It is. I will say, thing is with Metal Gear Solid 3 is if you don't get the Subsistence version, it's quite hard to play because it doesn't have dual analog controls.
It's very
True.
difficult.
Although what am I saying? Because I've only played it on 3DS, the worst way to play it.
No, I've got
I
it
don't know
on
if I
Vita.
played it on there. Vita's got 2 sticks, the 3DS hasn't.
Yeah, the 3DS version is
Yeah, but you
horrendous.
still have
No,
to
it's
get in the
not
crowd.
horrendous, it's good.
Do you think?
It's impressive. The controls
the
are
fact that they-
awful. It looks great.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm on about the control.
yeah,
I remember.
control, yeah.
I think did it have a demo? I think
Yeah.
it had a demo, and I played it. I was like, oh, I'm really struggling here.
So I got stuck at the last boss because I just can't do it
Yeah.
with the controls.
There's one more thing on here though. There's Tomb Raider Anniversary. That wasn't a bad retread of the. It was a remaster retelling. It wasn't exactly.
It's a remake, isn't it?
It is, but
It's all new.
it's not exactly beat for beat, so it's quite good.
Yeah.
Radbash
retellings
Gaming.
of that one.
He's got the VHSs, so we don't need to think deep this week. He's got Flintstones Christmas Carol and Dennis the Menace Special
All the
Edition,
hits.
the movie.
Dennis the Menace always creeps me out, the American one. 'Cause
Yeah.
He's like a blonde child.
Yeah.
But
Well,
obviously
there was
that's not what it's meant to be to us.
Yeah.
No, well, I might be wrong, but they were made. Can you believe this? The day DC Comics penned their Dennis the Menace, the American comic company that did the American Dennis Menace did their Dennis the Menace on the same day. So literally,
bizarre.
How bizarre. Someone fact check me on that, but I'm sure I feel confident.
Daddy Zilla up next. He's got himself a fruit basket.
He
cooking
has.
up a
Now,
storm.
this was sent by ourselves and the loyal community because Zilla's youngest, Carazilla, has been ill, been in hospital, but he's now out and fighting fit and raring to go. So we all got together to show what we can do as a community and sent a fruit basket overseas, which was nice, and I think that touched all the Zillas and made them feel happy and all that good stuff. Seemingly though, Tom, you cook fruit at 552 degrees. You once made the mistake that you thought that was the temperature. Actually, it's his clock. Now he's either up at 10 to 6 in the morning or it's 10 to 6 in the afternoon. We will never know.
Game Racer next. The Wild, the Weird, and the Wicked.
I
Amiga
need that.
600.
Have you got an Amiga in, Tom?
Not at the moment. I've had this exact set though. It's a really nice
You keep
box.
wanting
Yeah,
too
it's
much
nice
money
box
for
art,
the
isn't it?
Amiga. Even
I
I
know
saw.
the Amiga. That 1200, it flew off, and it was well under eBay prices.
I know
and
it
that had
was.
my blood, my sweat, and even at least 3 tears in there, as I painstakingly fixed that.
Maybe I should have bought it just for
It's
that.
gone now.
Here's someone for you, George. We've got Happy Joysticks.
Love a UMD.
They've got
Love a
Peace
UMD.
Walker on the PSP.
Can I just
What a console!
great console. We've got a fan on board here,
no.
so you can just park.
Love
I'm just gonna
love the
shut me
PSP.
ears.
Just bridle your
I
mouth.
had one as well.
You actually had one at launch, so you were one
I
of the
did,
real
yeah.
dealers.
So I was like straight down.
Were you
there,
playing
and
Metal
doing
Gear
shit.
Acid? Going. Wish this wasn't a
what
card
did I get
game.
with it? I got was Everybody's Golf.
Yeah.
I
used to
got
be.
that. I got that
It's
and
always a launch
I
game
got
for
that and
Sony.
Ghostbusters UMD.
The film.
Yeah.
Oh god, I had iRobot on UMD, and when I had to go to hospital for an operation, and that was the only thing I had to watch. So I watched iRobot about 8 times because I'd taken the PSP thinking I'll play games. Operation was on my arm, and I couldn't
Oh,
move it. So
no.
it was like that, So my two options were to play it with my PSP sort of like so far away I couldn't see it, or watch iRobot on UMD.
Unfortunately, the latter one was what presented itself.
I have not watched that film since.
Before you decide to move us past, let's just lament. They've got Rainbow Six Vegas for that. I wonder if that's any good.
It's interesting. It's nothing like... Because I always love when handheld games are not like a port, they're like a unique game.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it was a port.
What happens in that one?
Like, it holds... It's the same sort of thing, but
Yeah.
it's just like sort of been rebuilt
I
for
need
PSP.
that.
It is interesting. It is good.
Is that downstairs?
I don't know.
Well,
let's
I'll have
have a
another
look.
sniff before I leave. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, what's your thoughts on that game? Did you get that at launch when people actually played it online, or...?
I've never played Peace Walker.
You should dig that out. You should have a go on that.
To be honest, like, I never played I didn't play any of the Metal Gears until I've played one, and on the Vita.
Oh, the PS1 Classic download.
And I've played number 3 on the 3DS. Oh, I tried 2, but it wasn't the version with better controls. Is there a version with better controls? I know there's a re-release version on the original Xbox, but I don't know if it has improved controls. But I didn't get on with it.
What's it called? Metal Gear Solid 2 Subsistence or Substance?
Substance is one of them. Subsistence is number 3.
Yeah, I don't know if they reworked the camera.
I couldn't really get into number 2. Same way, like 3 grabbed me straight away, and it's always good when a game does that when you have no nostalgia for it. Like, I didn't grow up with Metal Gear Solid; it wasn't the thing I played.
Yeah.
But to go back to this old game and it just immediately grabbed me, it's always a sign of like a true classic.
You played it.
Number 3.
Snake Eater.
I didn't play it at launch, no.
Oh.
I think I got rid of my PS2 by then. I played 2 Sons of Liberty at launch because I just played the demo
did you
of that.
Zone of the
Enders, yeah. Let's buy a £40 game and then play the demo disc that comes with it over and over.
Did you ever play Zone of the Enders?
Me and our other cousin played that religiously, like just looking at all the little details, shooting the fruit,
shooting the bottles. I remember you showing me, getting me around. Look at this.
You loved it, really.
I had a Dreamcast at the time, so I probably
you were
loved
looking
everything.
at it going, I've gone green.
Here's another man. We've done him once already, but OG Gamer's in there with a collection of PS3 games. I tell you what, at the moment, PS3 offers so much bang for buck. So much bang for buck. You've got, let's call him, we've got 3 people. So we all, Sharaban's almost like some sort of voodoo witch doctor.
Beetlejuice, basically.
So you have to say, so I'll say his name, then Lord Sir Tom will say his name, and then Tom Gotham will say his name. Sharaban.
Sharaban. Excellent.
You didn't have to do high pitch. That's something I've evolved over time. That's added some pure class to that. Here's a man with some class. And I tell you what, Jason Bradbury needs to start hashtagging Stingray's boot, doesn't he? That's how you get reach and penetration with your social media. Sharaban's got a really nice collection of Mega CD games. He's got Echo the Dolphin Mega CD. He's got that classic collection set that everyone got bundled with the console.
Which I didn't realise. Do you know that the Golden Axe on that is only 1 player?
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Awesome. Yeah.
I always boot the cart up, so I've never pulled the classics down because
it's just an inferior version.
They're all inferior versions. What else has he got? Thunderhawk. He's from France, so obviously some of these we don't recognise. He's got Soul Feast. He's got Sonic CD, the best game. Sylphy. Oh, look out!
I'm excited to read the next one.
You go for it.
It's the Pumpo Funk release of the Unglorious Bar Stewards, the cast of this podcast.
Yes, and Finster Gamer put the hard yards in, and I think Comic Pictures has tweaked it beyond that. So we're seeing all of the hardcore listeners of the show: Retro Gamer Thomas, Adam the Artist, Chronicles of a Gamer, Boba Loba, Radbash, Finster Gamer.
I prefer myself as Hopper from
As with
Stranger
all these
Things.
pictures, your hair, you've got the 6-foot high bouffant you rock, Egon Spengler like, and you know,
it's been cut.
No words to explain. You know, one day we'll have a range of Pumpo Funks. Next
Danny
up,
plays.
No, but you haven't done Oscar. He hasn't had a single readout.
Which is almost poetic because look what it is.
Oh, I have.
Pop Funkos.
Sorry,
I can get it. I can speak for once. I've got my teeth in and my jaw wired in properly, so I can say. I'm very nervous about saying the word Pop Funko now, but he's got some of those. He's got some Futurama ones, and he's got some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers ones. Who did you want to rush to next?
Danny Plays got a nice little selection of Switch games there. Splatoon 2, Mario Kart,
right in your wheelhouse.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild,
Nice.
Mario Deluxe, Splatoon 2. Rad Bash Gaming with a...
I never realised that was a thing. Little Big Planet cartoon.
Oh,
yeah.
You want to talk about sleeper hits? There's one. It's a good game.
Do you know what? Of all things, randomly, I was looking through some bits and bobs that I've got a guide for Little Big Planet cartoon.
Surely that is going to be able to be remade in Dreams.
Everything can be remade in Dreams.
Well, yeah.
Can I be remade in Dreams?
I reckon so.
Deep. Hang on a minute. You know, I don't just do things at surface level. Can you be remade in Dreams, almost Lawnmower Man style? I think now that...
No, exactly Lawnmower Man style.
Then yes.
With a level of 90s CGI.
I think going forward, maybe you will live in the show almost Lawnmower-esque. So, Retrovisions. What we've got here, he's always got some random tat. We beat him up, don't we? He's got... I normally say they're nicknames.
I don't even know what those games are.
Atari XE carts. He's given us all a schooling this week. We make out we know about video games. Retrovision's got a collection for a console we didn't even know existed. Digital Monkery. Let's let him have another go. Super Paper Mario on the Wii. That's going to end up being an accumulator of value.
Yeah, that's one of those Wii titles where all the other Mario games are way more expensive than it, and it's like you know. Buy it now. Buy now, sell later.
We've said before we feel Breath of the Wild on the Wii U will probably be worth
somewhere in a pile. I don't know whether I've got.
You're banking on you reckon it's going to be a Twilight Princess?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
What Breath of the Wild on the Wii?
Yeah,
Wii U,
yeah.
Maybe.
Like Twilight Princess on the Cube.
Yeah, certainly.
Retro Collector Ray we've had again, but he's been in Cash Converters and bought Final Fight import.
Tinfoil Spider
thanking us for our love. I went a little bit low key on some crochet.
Just dishing out the likes.
Dishing out the likes like an animal. Yeah. Well, Tinfoil Spider's been a long-term listener, and her better half or other half, I think is it Bite My Pixel from memory?
I think so. You know the listeners better than I do.
Sometimes it's hard to keep them all stored in my brain, but I try to remember them all.
Another loyal listener, the Barbrew Games, got himself a copy of Mortal Kombat 11.
Hang on, we need his word out, don't we? The longest, most servious, most loyalist fan of the show, the Barbrew Games. Been there since day one.
Well, I finally picked this up. Better late than never, I guess. Well, I'm really keen to pick that up as well, because I played when it was free to play over the weekend, a while back. I think I talked about it on the show, but yeah, it's
My Game
solid
in Space. There's a man of class and excellence. He's got LA Noire on the PS3. Great game, beautiful game. Oh, man of class.
That's almost up there. That's almost up there with Yakuza for being mentioned on the show.
Now, how dare you?
It's a good game.
It's a very good game. I actually drive round in real life listening to the soundtrack.
Have you played the VR?
I haven't.
It's not the full game. It's like just some of the missions.
Some of the.
But you can just drive around in VR in your old timey car and just tip your hat at people as you go past.
You are kidding me.
No, it's on PlayStation VR, and you can tip your hat.
We are at the turn of the wheel there.
Okay.
Technology has finally got to the point where you can do that.
I remember us talking about Revenge of the Sith and LA Noire.
Okay, well, you know.
Revenge of the Sith, that's a good game.
I think that's good.
Really good. Really
the
good.
two Toms are in agreement.
The little versus mode
was
really
amazing.
Quite intricate combat system.
Yeah. You even invited me round to tell me how great it was.
And you don't get games like that anymore, because that was a game based on a film that comes out before the film with footage from the film, and people would buy it just to see what happens.
100%.
That will never happen again.
Even if they'd done that with Rise of the Skywalker, no one would have. Oh my god. That's all the dips in the boot for our listeners. Don't forget to hashtag Stingrays boot or email us for your pickups to be read out. Now, Gotham Tom, we normally have a little bit of lore here where Stingray has been doing something in the village to prepare for whatever the feature is. Like when he was doing the history of the Game Boy, he was shilling off ever-ready batteries he'd found in a skip. This week, Sir Tom, I look to you for a little snippet of lore. What the hell has Stingray been doing this week?
He's been acquiring arcade cabinets for Tom from Gotham Games.
Has he?
He has.
Okay. Yeah. What sort of prices has he been selling those mint copies?
Well, he's been buying them very cheap and selling them on very pricey, but I'm not meant to mention that now.
He's a dirty dog.
He is.
He knows how to price
He's a
up
scally.
an arcade. Okay, well, it's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battlefront all this week? Gotham Tom's like, what the hell am I doing? I just want to go home. It's Valentine's Day. So these are the new release highlights for the week, February 10th to February 16th, 2020. Listeners, these are out digital, physical, or will be by the time this podcast is in your feed, but could be region dependent. Stand back, hold
You better take the
down
first one, haven't you?
this one. Yakuza Remastered Collection Day 1 Edition. If you're a real fan, you got Day 1 Edition. Out on PS4, obviously, February 11th. Complete the journey of the dragon. The Yakuza Remastered Collection brings the final missing chapters to Kiryu's story to the PlayStation 4. From Yakuza 0 to Yakuza 6. Some of these games I'll end up owning 3 times. The Song of Life, players can now experience the full story of the Dragon of Dojima, all on a single platform, remastered, refreshed. All 3 games in the collection have received impressive graphical performance upgrades from 720 at 30 FPS to 1080p at 60 FPS, and have all gone through a rigorous relocalization process. Some of that locked content, we got it now. Missing content from the original Western release has been re-added for the remastered version, and the full English scripts have been reviewed, revised, and portions rewritten for accuracy. And one thing I've noticed after playing them all, the words at the bottom of the screen, they're not saying those in Japanese. Like one of those weird cartoons from Japan that they've redubbed. The original Japanese release. I've segued, but I'm back in the room. Also, Gotham Tom, just to explain, we pick what we call a mummy. So something we would pull on Mummy's apron strings for, so we can take out Stingray's boot. The Yakuza Remastered Collection is obviously my mummy. But we also have to pick a VHS, a retro film. So put one of those in the back of your mind somewhere. Think of an obscure film that you can pull out of Stingray's boot. Tom, you want to take the next one?
I better take the next one because it'll tally in with my pick. Necronator Dead Wrong PC out on February 13th. Necronator Dead Wrong is a comedic micro RTS game with a deck building twist. Collect and deploy undead units and build an army to conquer the insufferable goody two-shoes of the Livermore Alliance. Raise the dead, drop the mic.
Don't drop the mic, they're not cheap. Well,
sorry.
Ours are. Next up, Darksiders Genesis, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, February 14th. Darksiders Genesis gives players the first look at the world of Darksiders before the events of the original game. Furthermore, it introduces the 4th and last horseman, Strife, as well as co-op gameplay for the first time in the history of the franchise.
Next up, we've got my pick, Dreams, available on the PS4 today. Dreams is an extraordinary, ever-expanding game universe from the award-winning Media Molecule, creators of Little Big Planet and Tearaway, where you can discover community-made games from around the world and learn to make your own. The latest evolution of the studio's play, create, share maxim. Dreams gives you the opportunity to unleash creativity, bring your ideas to life with innovative, easy-to-use tools, and share them with the global community. Whether you want to create games, music, paintings, animation, sculpture, movies, or anything in between, Dreams is an extraordinary digital playground where anything is possible.
So this is out today, so you've picked it up, right?
So you got that?
Not quite yet.
Okay, all right. That's your mummy.
You said the story earlier, but you didn't say what game it was. So I thought I'd just slip that in there.
Yes.
He's slick.
Yeah.
Recruiting now for a second host on a Hokey Cokey show. Tom's off to be a third host on a other Hokey Cokey show, but I'm all.
We'll not mention that.
We're all good. This next up, before we do the next one, unless the next one's going to be your mummy, Tom from Gotham, is there anything in there that's going to be your mummy? Darksiders, a little bit of a stealth hit on the PS3 and Xbox 360. Do you want to play the prequel to that?
No, because this one's like a Diablo clone.
Ooh.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not like the sort of Zelda clone of the
anything
other
else in there?
Or...
You have to pick something.
If it's out of these, it'd be Dreams, because...
It has of interest for you.
It's the one that I would, I guess, at least once turn it on.
Fair play.
Do you see me doing a Mario Maker with Dreams and making a level and then being sat where no one
as I
likes
said
it?
in a previous episode, there's guaranteed to be trophies. There's guaranteed to be a trophy for upload of a game. There's going to be a trophy for download of a game. How many people are going to bolt like a block on top of a block and upload that tap just so they can get the ping? They're going to, aren't they? Last up, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, PC, PS4, February 14th. Rule the Ring with Street Fighter V Champion Edition, the robust version of the acclaimed fighting game. Choose from 40 diverse fighters, 34 dynamic stages, and over 200 stylish costumes as you fight your way through a variety of exciting single-player and multiplayer modes. A VHS. I'm picking The Frighteners by... Peter Jackson,
Peter Jackson, yeah.
and Michael J. Fox. I really like that. I think it's
film.
good. Sleeper movie.
I've got that on DVD. It's been on my shelf for about 2 years. Of like like, you must have the things you intend to watch.
I'm guilty of things I intend to watch and play.
I'm really
Yes.
I don't watch a lot of films. I only watched Ghostbusters last year.
For the first time?
Yeah, genuinely.
Whoa.
People just swerved off the road in their motor
But
vehicle.
do you know what? Like, something about this is I really like going into these films having no nostalgia for them and going, Ghostbusters, that's genuinely really good, and I have literally zero nostalgia for this.
So what's your thoughts on Frighteners? Or is that...
I've not watched it yet. It's on the pile.
Tonight, Valentine's Day treat. Why don't you
My
go
wife
home?
will love me. She's we're already running fairly late.
Okay, well,
we're in the
we'll wrap it up.
doghouse. We're in the doghouse now, so no frighteners. No frighteners.
No Frighteners. VHS?
I think we've had enough, haven't we?
Okay, well that's all we've got time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you, Tom. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your time.
And
We really
possibly
appreciate
the divorce. As always, thank you for your time. Look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, Toms.
Bye.
Bye.